at applecollisioncenters.com.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian home cocktail maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian cocktail maker. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for weddings, holidays, birthdays, or for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. And right now, buy a Bartesian and get your first 6 cocktails free when you go to bartesian.com/drinks. Go to bartesian.com/drinks for your free cocktails. That's bartesian.com/drinks.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne, broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game. Second flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. Caroline Fenton is here today. Hello, Caroline.
Hello, how we doing?
Outstanding. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
What up, what up?
I want to start on my friend today, if we can do that.
Your bestie pop, Nick.
My friend, one Nicholas Lou Saban Jr.
Is that his name, or did you just make that up?
That is, in fact, his name.
Okay.
I consider Nick a friend. I hope Nick feels the same way. But Nick Saban is getting ready for the Tennessee Volunteers. And what I love is how probably everybody felt on Saturday, right? Tennessee smokes LSU. I mean, that was a big-time moment on national TV in front of everybody. Tennessee hammers LSU. And then Alabama plays a game against Texas A&M Saturday night. That was ugly. That was absolutely, positively beneath the standards of Nick Saban. And I think some people would say, well, they had a backup quarterback in there, and that's not Nick Saban's standards. Nick Saban wins with backup quarterbacks. Nick Saban wins with backup running backs, backup linebackers, backup offensive linemen, backup receivers. Nick Saban wins with backups. Why? Because his backups are better than your starters. That's how Nick Saban wins.
And Nick Saban wins with bad quarterbacks.
Nick Saban does not accept, well, my quarterback's out, so what are we going to do? Plus, I think we can all agree that A&M team is cheeks.
Yeah, they're not great.
So, Saban's not going to be very happy about how they performed. And as soon as I saw the Tennessee game and then saw the Alabama game, I thought, oh, this is bad for Tennessee. Because there's going to be no rat poison this week for Alabama, which means Lord Saban can go in there and put down his agenda this week, and it's going to reset the Crimson Tide. And Nick Saban met with the media, and before taking any questions, outlines exactly what he's going to be spending this week doing with his football team. This was Nick Saban yesterday.
I think it's fairly obvious that there's a lot of things that, we need to work on, evaluate personnel, evaluate consistency and performance, evaluate, priority of getting your job done the right way, so that we can have a little more consistency, in our performance. We didn't take advantage of opportunities when we had them, in the last game, and that's certainly something that's going to catch up with you. Players have to understand you got to do things to keep from losing before you can think about winning, which is, turning the ball over, making mental errors, not reading things correctly so that we can execute plays the way they're designed. And that's something that we, as a whole, as an organization, need to do a better job of working together with the players and the coaches so that we can do a better job of getting that right.
And that should scare Tennessee fans. Everything he just said should scare Tennessee fans. I know they're on the high of having beaten LSU and doing it in incredibly exceptional performance. And yet at the same time, I'd be worried about Nick Saban this week. I'd be worried about what he's doing because what he just told the media is what we're doing this week is we're resetting the program. And there's going to be no rat poison, no outside influence that's going to get through to those players because those players were embarrassed. That sounds like a coach after a team loses a game that comes in there and goes, well, we've decided to look at the film and we've got to change how we do things. We've got to set our priorities straight. We have to focus. We have to bear down this week. We have to get ready for the Raiders because most coaches struggle with that when their team wins. But because Alabama won in such unspectacular fashion on Saturday against A&M, he is having the let's reset everything, for lack of a better term, the come to Jesus with his team. He's having that this week. And when Alabama has the come to Jesus moments, they go out there and kill somebody. And I just kept thinking about the 2015 game against Georgia, where Alabama was ranked 13th. They turned the ball over a bunch against Ole Miss. And this was one of those Ole Miss teams that had all those players that Hugh Freeze had bought back before you were allowed to buy players. And so they had Laramie Tunsil and Laquan Treadwell and Robert Kimdichie and that Ole Miss team. And they beat Alabama. And Alabama turned the ball over a bunch. And they played Georgia, who was ranked higher than Alabama at the time. This was Mark Richt's last year. And Derrick Henry went bananas in this game. But they played Georgia, who was ranked 8th. Alabama was 13th. And the sideline interview before kickoff told everybody everything they needed to know about what was going to happen to Georgia.
Moments ago, Allie LaForce with Nick Saban.
Coach, you started off SEC play with a loss to Ole Miss, but this team has a great history of bouncing back from big losses. How do you expect them to respond today?
Well, the formula we laid out for our team today can't be accomplished by ordinary people. So you got to be extraordinary. I think we got some extraordinary guys on our team, but they got to go out there and prove that they can do it against a good team.
They won 38-10. So here's what I'm telling you is going on right now. That's what's going on. They lose a game to Ole Miss. Everybody who's been told how great they are all offseason, preseason ranked number 1, every Heisman Trophy talk, and this guy is great, that guy's great, Mel Kiper Jr. mock board, he's got it. That's every day. Everybody's grandma and mother and dad and cousin and everybody's telling them how great they are. And they're winning all these games. And it's so hard for Saban to say, guys, you're not doing the little things correctly. You need to do this. I know, coach. I know, coach. I know, coach. And then they lose a game to Ole Miss. And then all of a sudden, grandma and cousin and sister and girlfriend and boyfriend, they're not saying anything. And now it's Saban time. Because Alabama had been humbled. And so what Saban does is he resets things early in the week, and then by the end of the week, he's broken them down and built them up so Allie LaForce, I think it takes an extraordinary guy to go out there and do the things we're asking them to do, and I think we've got some extraordinary guys on our team. Boom. Alabama smokes Georgia at Georgia. I'm not saying Alabama's going to smoke Tennessee this weekend. I'm not even saying Alabama's going to win this weekend. But I am telling you that the humbling that Alabama took on Saturday night, I think is a bad thing for Tennessee. And I think Nick Saban, this is right up his alley. This is his playbook. This is what he wants. Like, he wants the rat poison to get rid of that. And instead of, everybody listening to everybody on his team, listening to everybody else, they all listen to him. And when they all listen to him, whoever they're about to play is in real trouble. Remember last year at the SEC championship game, Saban sat up there on the podium and was like, normally that rat poison you give to us is bad, but this week it was real yummy because you all were picking Georgia. I'll tell you, that's what is going on in Tuscaloosa. And I know that Josh Heupel's doing a great job at Tennessee. I'm not taking anything away from him. I think Tennessee, if Jalen Milroe plays quarterback, I think Tennessee has the better quarterback in the game. If Bryce Young plays quarterback, not totally sure about that. Like, I'm not saying Tennessee is not a formidable foe or that Tennessee does not deserve to be ranked in the top 6 or that Tennessee is not a real threat to Alabama, because they absolutely are a real threat to Alabama. I'm just saying, be careful for Nick Saban this week, because he doesn't need anything extra to motivate those players. And a motivated Alabama team with a motivated Nick Saban who's doing the motivating is very dangerous. So, I mean, I'm sure Tennessee fans are like, bring it,
Oh, absolutely.
bring it with Saban. And I don't know what the Tennessee team's thinking. I guarantee you Josh Heupel's scared to death of that man right now.
Probably so.
He should be.
Fans aren't.
You can't, I mean, I'm going to say you can't tell me that, but fans are not scared of Alabama.
I think I can tell you probably more than a lot of people. Fans aren't scared of Alabama.
They're not scared of Nick Saban?
No, they're not.
And is there anything in Nick Saban's track record, history, anything that would lead us to believe that Nick Saban is not capable of going into Neyland Stadium and motivating this team? Now, I'm not Mel Kiper Jr., so I can't tell you who has better NFL players on their team, which is ultimately the defining factor as to who is better. Because even though some guys are good college players and they're not good pro players, for the most part, the team that has the best players usually wins. And that's pretty much every sport across the board. The best college teams in baseball usually send guys to the major leagues. The best college teams in basketball usually have some guy that's going to go in the top 4 of the NBA draft. So it's no different here. I'm going to guess Alabama probably has better players. Like, if I just had to take a stab at it as to who's got better football players, I'm just going to tell you probably Alabama.
And that's not really a knock on Tennessee. That's just the reality.
Nothing I'm saying about Alabama and Nick Saban and him motivating those players and him getting that team, or as he said in that cut we just played, the organization to reset, is a knock on Tennessee. In fact, I think what's crazy is that a couple of years ago, when Butch Jones was the coach, they went to Tuscaloosa, and it was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. And that was something that was bragged about a lot, which was it was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Now, it ended up being a blowout. I think Alabama might have covered that game, but I can't remember. But it was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Well, it was a one-score game in the fourth quarter because Alabama wasn't taking Tennessee seriously. They had a bye the next week, and then they played LSU in one of the biggest games of the season the week after that. That's not going to happen on Saturday. On Saturday, I'll tell you right now, those Alabama players, they're not looking forward to any other game on their schedule. They are not taking Tennessee lightly. Like, they are taking Tennessee seriously. And I know Tennessee's taking Alabama seriously too, but I just think sometimes we have to recognize that Nick Saban is the greatest coach who ever lived. And that moments like this is where Nick Saban shoves it up somebody's keister. And I'm not saying he's going to do that on Saturday. I'm just telling you, if I was a Tennessee fan and I heard Nick Saban walk up to the podium and instead of, all right, I'll take your questions, or instead of anything like that, gets up there. And, Ian, how long was that cut?
1 minute.
I'm going to guess, 1 minute?
It was 1 minute, yep.
Okay. So he starts out 1 minute explaining to everybody what they're doing this week, which is they are resetting priorities, and they are determining who should play, and he's putting it all out there. I mean, he's benching guys this week if they don't do the right thing. I mean, there's real motivation coming from Nick Saban. And Nick Saban, he's got the skins on the wall, and we know he's got the backups to be able to bench people. It's like, let's take somebody for the Titans. Robert Woods dropped 2 big passes on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They ain't benching Robert Woods. Nick Saban, he's got guys that he can put in the game if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So, I mean, I will tell you, and I mean this with all sincerity, Alabama fans know that the worst thing in the world is losing. The best thing in the world is winning close like they did on Saturday, because it's almost like they lost. It feels like they lost, right?
By Alabama standards, yes, especially against this Texas A&M team that really is not that great.
Cheeks. And so Saban's going to get the whole week to treat it like a loss and get them motivated for Tennessee. And that's not good for Tennessee. That's all I'm saying is, guys, I know it was fun to beat LSU. I know it was fun to beat that Florida team when that coach that we don't know if he's any good or not with that quarterback that can't throw. I know that was fun. I know it was nice to beat LSU who couldn't cover a kickoff. Well, now you're playing the big boys. Like now Nick Saban has a motivated team And that is very dangerous. And Saban just laid out exactly what the week is going to be like. He's tearing them down all week, and he's going to have them built up by Friday. And on Saturday, when that ball gets kicked off, Alabama will be ready to play. And that would make me nervous. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're starting there. We're starting on Saban. Got to start on Saban. Where did this idea come that Tennessee fans were not allowed to be, or shouldn't say allowed, where Tennessee fans decided they weren't going to be afraid of Nick Saban?
And maybe that's just putting up a big front on social media and acting like we're the big bad Vols and we're not scared of anything, but on the inside they really are nervous. Like 2019, whenever LSU played Alabama, I was like, I am shaking in my boots. I am terrified because this is a good team. It's a good LSU team. This is a really good Alabama team too. So I don't know if this is Tennessee riding the high off of a bunch of really good wins, especially a good road win against LSU, or if it's just a little bit of false confidence, but I have seen it.
Like they may honestly beat Alabama.
I am not counting that out as a legitimate possibility, especially if Bryce Young doesn't play. But I'm not saying it's any sort of shoo-in or any sort of guarantee.
I mean, if you're a Tennessee fan and you're not worried of Nick Saban, then you do not respect college football. Because this Alabama team, I have questions about, but I don't have questions about him. And I don't have questions about him being able to motivate those guys. And again, you brought up the 2019 LSU team, and I know you're not saying this, but this Tennessee team, they ain't the 2019 LSU team.
No, but I'm just saying from my perspective of being in that place of a really close Alabama game.
Saban.
Exactly. I was like, I am terrified.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. The impact of Saban. What do we make of it? Not just in the game Saturday, all week. What do we make of it? 615-737-1025. Plus, the most important question to the game on Saturday, Nick Saban has an update on that. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, we're off and rolling here on a Tuesday. Caroline, tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. Now, before we get into the odds and the spreads and all the picks, all that fun stuff, remember, your first bet is on Caesars, up to $1,250. Just download the app and use the promo code RadioFull, and then wager. Go have fun with it. And if you win, then congratulations. But if not, don't worry about it, because you will get that stake back as a free bet. We've got a bunch of MLB playoff games going on throughout the rest of the week. You can make your own parlay on Caesars Sportsbook, or they've got odds boosts going on throughout the rest of the week. Open to users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guys.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hockey season is back in Smashville. The 2022-23 Pred season brings energy, excitement, and the loudest fans in hockey. But the question is, are you ready? Be there for the home opener on October 13th to cheer on your Predators as they face the Dallas Stars at Bridgestone Arena. Tickets available now at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Get your tickets and mark your calendar. Welcome back, Smashville. Let's go, Preds.
One of the best things to happen here over the last year is the arrival of QC Kinetics. Willie Donick here. QC Kinetics is helping people in our area get real, lasting relief from their joint pain with the latest in regenerative medicine. No drugs, no downtime, no steroids, no surgery. In fact, QC Kinetics has tripled in size. Now with clinics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro, one near you. So if you have pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back, whatever joint it is, don't think steroids and surgery are your only options. Regenerative medicine treatments at QC Kinetics use natural biologics, healing agents from your own body. It restores and repairs the damaged joint tissue. Pro athletes have been doing this for years, and now it's available to you and me. So many people here have done this and are raving about how they got their life back without that nagging daily pain. Appointments are available as soon as next week, and the consultation is free. So call QC Kinetics and learn how modern precision medicine can help you deal with the pain caused by arthritis or injury without drugs or surgery. QC Kinetics in Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. 615-249-4024 for the consultation. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Are you looking to get your foot in the door in the sports media business? Do you want to be around the biggest teams in Nashville and learn from some of the best in the business? Well, we're opening that door for you. The entry to working in the world of sports radio exists as a promotions assistant at 1025 The Game. The Game is looking for a few passionate and outgoing folks to represent the station on site at the biggest sporting events in and around Nashville. Does this sound like you? Email together@cromwellmedia.com. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
What's the latest on Bryce Young's status?
Bryce is getting reevaluated today. I don't really know much. I hadn't talked to Doc, since he did that. Hopefully we're going to try to get him ready to play this week, but this is something that, nobody can predict, how quickly this is going to give him an opportunity to be able to go out and do what he needs to do. And, we'll see as the week progresses, but I don't have an update much more than that.
You think Saban's telling the truth there?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I haven't talked to Doc.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely not. He's talked to Doc.
Bryce Young's going to play on
He has been in constant communication with Doc.
Bryce Young will play Saturday. If Bryce Young was wearing a jersey on Saturday night against A&M, he will play on Saturday against Tennessee. And that is a big deal. Caroline has brought something to my attention, though, about this Tennessee-Alabama game that may actually be more important than Bryce Young playing. And that is, I heard this, and I immediately dropped my head. I do not know who to pick. We'll make our picks on Friday. I do not know who to pick between Tennessee and Alabama. And let me just say this. Like, the TV ratings came out, the Alabama A&M game got a higher local TV rating than the Tennessee LSU game did. But I'm not saying Alabama is more popular than Tennessee.
That game was over in the third quarter.
But people around here would say that if they, had an agenda, if they wanted to push that, they would say that. But
you can push whatever agenda you want to
there's
push.
A lot of Alabama fans around here and a lot of SEC fans around here. And this game's going to get a Titan number. This game's going to get about a 22 rating or something ridiculous on Saturday for Tennessee and Alabama. It's going to get massive numbers across the country. I bet it probably gets about 8 million viewers, which is huge. Caroline brought something to my attention that literally just made me drop my head and think Tennessee screwed. Please tell everybody this information.
So I saw this on Twitter from a bunch of accounts, but this is one that I'm seeing from Richard West, who is the #1 breaking news reporter in South Knoxville. It says Frazier...
Not North Knoxville or West Knoxville.
South Knoxville.
South Knoxville. Got it.
Frazier Welding in Knoxville was given the order this morning to fabricate 2 field goal posts for Neyland Stadium with the anticipation of Tennessee upsetting Alabama.
They're screwed. Tennessee's screwed. And this goes back, what is the matter with you people? Like, in Knoxville.
But I don't know how much of that is Danny White doing that to say, hey, look, everybody. Everybody, we're anticipating this. We're going to beat everybody and to get everybody hyped up. But I think it's that kind of mentality going into it.
We need a pep rally to get excited for Alabama.
And entitled. I think it's more so for him. Like, yay, we love Danny White rather than a yay, let's get excited for Alabama.
Which Danny White loves, by the way.
He loves to be loved by the people, which is fine. But I think it's almost going into it with a little bit of a sense of entitlement.
Ian, you know what Nick Saban would call that if that was happening to him?
What's that?
Rat poison. That's what that is. And when I saw Tennessee beat LSU and I saw the closeness of the Alabama A&M game, I thought there's going to be no rat poison for Alabama this week. But I was a little worried that there might be some rat poison for Tennessee. And I knew that everybody in Knoxville, whose name wasn't Josh Heupel, was going to be pumping up the tires of the Tennessee players because ultimately the fans don't matter. They don't play the game. The players do. And every social media, every local bobo that covers that team, and they got some bows.
Every team's got some bobos.
College media is super homerific. But, I mean, they got some bows that cover that team. And, I mean, I knew that it was going to be elevated and everything else. But the AD to go try and commission goalposts being made because we're going to beat Alabama. And do we know if this story's true?
It's on Twitter. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt.
Is it like an actual article that says
no,
that
it's not
it's
an
just
actual
some
article.
guy tweeted it out?
Some guy tweeted it out. So it could be true, it could be not. But the bad part is it's believable.
We are a one-source show. So I mean, I hear this and I'm like, they're screwed. Like if that is the temperature in Knoxville, is we're getting goalposts made because we're going to beat Alabama, you are playing right into Nick Saban's hand. And I know you were telling me that Vol fans, and we all know Caroline's surrounded by them at every corner.
This week, unfortunately so, yes.
You're telling me they're not worried of Nick Saban, which is so incredibly ridiculous because Tennessee has never beaten Nick Saban since he's been at Alabama. In fact, the last great Tennessee team, like the end of Tennessee's greatness, when people talk about are the Vols back or the last great Tennessee team was the 2001 Tennessee Volunteers, that all they had to do was beat as the favorite, and that Tennessee team was loaded with John Henderson and Albert Haynesworth and Kelly Washington and Dante Stallworth, and that team was awesome. And all they had to do was beat the lowly West champion LSU in the SEC championship game, and they would have taken on the Miami Hurricanes in the national championship game, and they couldn't get by LSU with their backup quarterback after Rohan Davey got hurt. Who was the coach of the LSU team? We all know it was Nick Saban. So this idea that Tennessee fans are going to act like they're not worried about Nick Saban. Now, I'm not saying all Tennessee fans are thinking
No,
that.
and that's not the case. I'm sure there are plenty of Tennessee fans out there that are nervous.
Just the ones that you interact with are not nervous about Nick Saban.
Yes, a lot of them are not nervous about Nick Saban, and they have been stocking up on cigars.
And this guy on Twitter says they're going to tear down the goalposts. And that Tennessee is already preparing for them to tear down the goalposts on Saturday. And Alabama, we think, is getting the best player in college football from last year back.
Yeah.
And they've got the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
And they probably have more NFL players on their team than Tennessee.
Probably so.
And they've played in about 30 of these kind of games. Everybody on their team's played in these.
Yeah.
And Tennessee's never played in a game like this.
This is definitely the biggest game of Josh Heupel's career, yes.
I mean, there's not one guy on that roster, unless somebody transferred from Ohio State or Alabama. There is not one guy on that roster that's played a game like this. There's one player on Tennessee that transferred from a good school. I can't remember who. But other than that, and we're going to sit here and talk about tearing down the goalposts?
I mean, Tennessee fans have every right to be excited.
Tear down the goalposts? The AD commissioning new goalposts?
But cautious optimism, I think, is a more fair way to go about it.
Who does Tennessee play the next week? See, I'm not even thinking about
Martin.
So I'm not even thinking about what the next game is because I'm focused on Alabama, as everybody should be with their focus on Alabama. Though, and I'm not rooting for anybody in this game. I mean, I consider myself friends with Nick, and I like Nick a lot.
First name basis.
Yeah. Well, he's on first name basis with me, so I should feel like I'm on a first name basis with him.
Nicholas
right?
Lou.
Well, I mean, he calls me Jared, so I call him Nick.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously, I'm friends with Nick, and I do root for Nick. But I mean, it's time for Tennessee to be good again, as I've said many times. People think I'm lying when I say that, but I'm not. I've been saying for years it's time for Tennessee to be good again because it makes games like this fun. This is a fun game.
It makes the SEC more fun.
I mean, it makes this more fun.
For sure.
And so it's time for them to be good. But seriously, commissioning new goalposts? I'm sorry. If we have to move the UT Martin game to a high school because we don't have goalposts, I'll be willing to take that if it meant that we beat Alabama without me jinxing it or without me, inflating the tires of my own players that haven't. I mean, let's be honest. Tennessee, they're sixth in the country, and they've won some games, and I think they're buttoned up and they're doing it in impressive fashion. And to me, this is not the same as Butch Jones' 2016 team that I believe started off 5-0.
Not even close.
And lost
because
to
Butch
A&M
Jones is a boob.
Right. But at the end of the day, compared to Alabama, this Tennessee, they ain't won anything.
I mean, this is an Alabama team that's been there before and a coach that has been there before. This is a Tennessee team that is new to this.
They haven't won anything. And they're sitting there acting like they're on the same footing with Alabama, and they're commissioning new goalposts.
I mean, they might be on the same footing as Alabama. We'll find out on Saturday.
I may have told a lie.
What?
Apparently, I said last night that I was rooting for Alabama this weekend. Make no mistake about it.
You said that last night?
Sounds like something I would have said.
Caught, busted.
Sounds like something I would have said.
Got him.
I mean, I am kind of torn. Although I do think I probably am rooting for Alabama. All right, let's get your phones next. 615-737-1025. I did want to get some phones this segment, but then Caroline brought up that whole commissioning new goalposts. How many followers does this guy have? That tweeted this out?
I don't know.
Does he have a blue?
We did have a phone call from Russell, who says he thinks the Twitter account is fake. But just a heads up.
You know what, though?
It's still believable.
Fake or not, that's not going to stop Nick Saban from talking to that team.
No, it is not.
I mean, if this gets to Nick Saban, and I'm going to guess that if it made its way to the Stillman and Company show, it's probably made its way to Nick Saban. If it made it, you think Nick Saban asked him the story's true or not?
He absolutely has these little secret squirrels that are looking through social media and finding every single little piece of motivation and bait that they possibly could.
You think that Nick Saban is like Walter Cronkite, having to check his sources before going to the team and saying they're commissioning new goalposts?
He doesn't care if it's a fake account or not.
He doesn't care at all.
You don't need a blue check mark.
All he wants is the rat pool.
I know for certain it has made its way to the Tennessee fans that I know.
If it has made its way to the greater Tennessee fan base, true or not, it's made its way to Nick Saban. And if it's made its way to Nick Saban, it's made its way to that team. But again, Caroline's saying that the Tennessee fans aren't intimidated by Nick Saban, which is ridiculous because he's Nick Saban. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Plus, boy, Nick Saban was complimentary about Tennessee football. But I think this is different than previous times that he's been complimentary about Tennessee football. I'll explain why that is, and then we'll go right to your phone, 615-737-1025 here on the program today. And speaking of the game, be sure to join Michelle Knezovic this Saturday at New Heights Brewing Company, located at 928 John Lewis Way South in Nashville for the SEC Game of the Week presented by bettinghero.com. They're going to help you enjoy your betting experience on mobile and maybe even buy you a beer. Fun starts at 2:30 on Saturday for Tennessee and Alabama.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
This segment of ESPN 1025 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Attention sports fans, your favorite sportbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%. BetUS offer their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their dealers are waiting for you at the table. You need a sportbook with integrity and longevity. You need to know that you will get paid. You need a sportbook that offer everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horse racing, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention 1025, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the games begin.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The Angie's List you know and trust is now Angie, and we're so much more than just a list. We still connect you with top local pros and show you ratings and reviews, but now we also let you compare upfront prices on hundreds of projects and book a service instantly. We can even handle the rest of your project from start to finish. So remember, Angie's List is now Angie, and we're here to get your job done right. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Come out Saturday, October 15th to support Stars by running, walking, or boogieing. The Nashville Striders 22nd Annual Shelby Bottoms Boogie 15K and 5K Run Walk, or you can show your support and participate virtually. More information at starsnashville.org. Coming up on the Wednesday edition of Chase Willie and D. Mays, it's almost time for the Preds home opener. We'll talk to Chris Mason at 11. Plus, things around the NFL and the Titans with Jonathan Hutton of Outkick 360 at noon. Party begins at 10, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We're going to play a really good Tennessee team. This game means a lot to a lot of people in Alabama. It's kind of a rivalry game, and it's always been an important game for us. Tennessee's got an outstanding team. They're undefeated. Josh has done a really, really good job there. Probably one of the most explosive offenses, if not the most explosive offense, in the country. They've got really good wide receivers. 4 guys have lots of production. They've got 2 really good running backs, lots of production. The quarterback, Hooker, has really done a nice job of executing their offense. He's one of the leading pass efficiency guys in the country, as well as has the ability to extend plays and make plays with his feet. He's a very good athlete all the way around and has had an outstanding year. Their defense is, one of the top defensive teams, especially in terms of creating negative plays and making people difficult for them to score. 17 points a game is, really good and one of the tops in the SEC. And they're always really solid with their specialists and on special teams. So this is a really, really good team, a real challenge for us. And our priority has to be, we got to get it right ourselves and, so that we do a better job of putting ourselves in positions of having a chance to be successful. And when we do that, we got to take advantage of it.
There you go. Nick Saban talking about Tennessee. Very complimentary. Now, Nick Saban's complimentary of anybody they're about to play.
They're complimentary of Vanderbilt.
But the reality is, I think he actually means this.
Oh, yeah.
I think Nick Saban thinks they could lose on Saturday.
I think he should think that because I think that's a very viable possibility.
But I don't think he's commissioning any goalposts to be made.
Well, the game's not in Tuscaloosa, but
even then,
but yes.
I don't think he's.
I don't think that he's commissioning anything, and I don't think that he's looking at this game as a guarantee by any means.
No.
I don't think that's the way that Nick Saban looks at any game, and that's what makes them so dangerous.
That is, one time we were talking about guaranteeing victories or playing bad teams or something like that. And Floyd said to me that the reason that guys like Nick and Bill don't do that or they take every game seriously is because, in his words, and I think he was kind of also talking about himself at the same time, they've lost so many games that they shouldn't have lost, that they know that feeling and they know that it's possible. Now, they're an 8-point favorite. I don't feel like they're an 8-point favorite. Even if Bryce Young plays, I don't think they're 8 points better than Tennessee, at Tennessee. So that line is a little eye-opening to me because it's very enticing to take Tennessee at +8 and then Alabama go out there and smoke them.
Mm-hmm.
So make of that what you will.
But it is interesting, too, to see how much Alabama has struggled on the road and Bryce Young has struggled on the road the past two years, honestly. I mean, the only games where they haven't lost by less than a field goal or a field goal or less was Mississippi State last year and Arkansas this year. Every other game that they have played on the road, they've either lost or it's been a 1, 2, or 3 point margin of victory.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have?
One texter checks in and says, who has UT beaten? A terrible Florida team, an okay Pitt team. How are you so confident to win a game when you haven't played anybody at all?
So that's what we were talking about during the first break when we were discussing the idea that Tennessee fans are not intimidated by Alabama or Nick Saban. And it's like, guys, you went to overtime with Pittsburgh with a backup quarterback. I hate to tell you this, but that Pat Narduzzi, good man, not Nick Saban. That Pittsburgh team, not a bad team. That's not Alabama. And so I would agree with the logic of the texter. That is, I mean, look, Tennessee has not played a game like this probably since 2016 when they were 5-0, and I want to say they were maybe 9th in the country, and A&M was 7th, and they went down to College Station. And that game, even though they were two top 10 teams playing each other, and it was the CBS game, and they were both undefeated, A&M does not have the recent history of Alabama. Like, there is more that is going into this game. Even if Tennessee were to play Georgia this weekend, I think that there would be more of a lore over Tennessee's head of the history that Alabama has had, and the grip that Nick Saban has had on Tennessee is stronger than anything with Georgia. I mean, I think Georgia's a better team than Alabama.
They've beaten Georgia more recently than they've beaten Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the way that I look at it is that, like, Florida and Alabama are different than Georgia as far as, like, that mental hold.
Florida and Alabama are different?
Yeah, that mental hold on Tennessee. Because Tennessee didn't play well in that Florida game. I mean, I want everybody out there to know that, like, I know they won the game, but, I mean, everybody was about to lose their pants after they won that game, and I was disappointed in Tennessee that they didn't win by more. And everybody was telling me, they were like, well, you have to realize that Tennessee, you know, it's so hard for them to beat Florida, and they've lost to so many bad Florida teams because Florida has that hold over them that in order for them to win their second game in the last 30 or whatever it is against Florida, it was just such a mountain to climb. Well, Alabama's the same kind of mountain, but it's steeper. And it's Nick Saban.
And there's so much more of a mental stronghold because Alabama doesn't just have that stronghold over Tennessee. Alabama has that stronghold over all of college football.
Everybody except Auburn. Auburn has no problem with Alabama. When they play that game at Auburn, even if Auburn has a bad team. Like last year's game against...
Last year went to overtime.
That
Double
Auburn
overtime.
team was trash. And that game was a game.
They wanted to fire their coach in his first year.
Yeah. That game was a game. So Auburn, you know, Gus Malzahn, for some reason, he could beat Nick Saban at Auburn. That's the only one. But it was like an exorcism for Kirby Smart when they won the championship because they had gotten smoked so bad in the SEC title game. It was like, hey, you know, they've got Kirby's number and they've got, and I'll be, again, not to say that it matters because it doesn't. Georgia won the title fair and square. I think if Jameson Williams doesn't tear his knee on that turf, I think it's a totally different game.
Hey, you can do that with any
But
game.
the game so changed at that moment.
It really did.
And
Nick Saban even said the receivers that they put out there or some of the guys that they had on the bench that had to play weren't ready to play.
In fairness, though, the receivers that he's going to put out there are better than any other receivers pretty much in the country.
Yes.
So suck it up. What else we got?
Michael texts in and says that's not the temperature in the fan base. The fans are nervous as heck. It's a cautiously optimistic hope.
I think that's fair.
I think that there's probably a good bit of Tennessee fans that are nervous, a good bit of Tennessee fans that aren't, a good bit of Tennessee fans that just want to get this over with. I'm sure that in different groups there's a different temperature. I'm just saying what I've felt and what I have heard.
Ian, what do we think the temperature of the Tennessee fans are? Cautious optimism against Alabama? Or downright pandemonium with the expectation that they will beat Alabama?
I'd say probably the second one.
Really?
Probably so. Just considering the irrationale of SEC fan bases in general.
You know what's funny? So
They're all borderline crazy.
I think
That's
this
fair.
Michael Irvin on First Take with Stephen A. Smith every Monday is genius, especially with the Cowboys being good. Because Michael Irvin just literally goes off the handle every Monday about how good the Cowboys are. And it's perfect because Michael Irvin is the ultimate showman. And obviously he's a Cowboy. And the Cowboys are...
And Stephen A. hates the Cowboys.
Stephen A. Although Jerry Jones called him a fraud and said that he actually secretly is a Cowboy fan. But, like, this thing about Michael Irvin and Stephen A. arguing with the Cowboys is I do feel like, you know, I don't really... Like, the Carolina Panthers fired their coach the other day. I don't really care about the Carolina Panthers. But I do have feelings about the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I think everybody, even if you're not a Cowboy fan, has some kind of positive or negative feeling about the Dallas Cowboys. And so it's perfect because those Cowboy fans are so crazy that they win a game and some guy is going to get Cooper Rush's face tatted on his ass, and it's going to be like this huge thing about, can you believe what this moron did? And Tennessee fans are the same way in the state of Tennessee as Dallas Cowboy fans are in America. Like, just pure irrationality. They win one freaking game, and it's like, oh, Cooper Rush is the best. Oh, my God, can you believe it? How about them Cowboys? Oh, yeah. And then it just makes everybody else who's not a Cowboy fan mad. And Tennessee fans are the same way. You people need some respect for Nick Saban. I have not listened to a Josh Heupel press conference yet this week. First of all, his press conferences are freaking boring.
They are boring.
I do wonder, do you think I'm sure he's been doing some serious grade A bootlicking this week.
And to who?
Saban.
Oh, I'm sure.
I bet it's big.
Well, because he understands more than anybody that if you give any sort of fuel to the fire, you give an inch
rat
of
poison.
fuel, he'll take a mile. So, and I think that Josh Heupel's the kind of coach that does the same kind of thing that Saban does. You know, all respect to this team, all respect to this team. Tries not to give any kind of fuel.
But it's different when it's them. There's real rings to kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, like, Missouri, that's a good old team out there. It's
I mean, when a coach says
say
that.
something about that, like Nick Saban, and it's almost like it's disrespectful.
Yeah, when you say something like, the Houston Texans are a really good football team, like, we know you're lying.
But then again, like Vrabel, anytime he plays Belichick or Brady, he does not get into how great those guys are or their times or, I think they asked him one time before his first game against I want to say against the Patriots, and they asked a question about Brady, and he kind of cut it off, and I wondered why, and Floyd was like, he didn't want to sit there with a guitar and play Kumbaya and talk about his Tom stories, which I guess makes some sense. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Boy, Ron Rivera got himself into some hot water yesterday about the Titans game, which I think was fabulous. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Matich joins Stillman & Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Today, after a warmer start, no frost this morning. We'll go to a warmer afternoon. High temperatures will be in the low 80s, partly cloudy, and no humidity. Our next rain chance will be late Wednesday into Thursday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hey, it's Hutton for the Low T Center. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Schedule your complete health assessment at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-injected home testosterone treatments for $155 a month cash pay or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Hey folks, Joe Rexford here. Listen, to do the job I do, I got to stay on the move, and sometimes that can catch up to me. Even when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body, and that's why I use the high quality and wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. OrderGreen.com is the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, and man, I'm in Tennessee, but it makes me feel like I'm in Colorado, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Save 25% now on every shipment of gummies with a subscription. That's OrderGreen.com. Subscribe to save 25% on gummies.
There are jewelry stores, and then there's Genesis Diamonds, the cutting-edge industry leader, the pioneer. It's no secret that jewelry stores across America watch what Genesis is doing. Genesis was the first to offer a free lifetime warranty, the first to offer a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee, the first to offer aggressive long-term zero-interest financing. And Genesis is always on the cutting edge in design and fashion. The styles other jewelers say are new and exciting were new and exciting for us 4 years ago. Genesis has the fashion-forward brands other stores aren't even allowed to carry. It's no wonder you see jewelers from other cities coming to Genesis to see what we're all about, and even buy their wives' jewelry from us. For selection, quality, service, warranties, and guarantees, Genesis leads. Others follow. So for diamonds, engagement rings, exclusive designer jewelry for any occasion, don't compromise. Come to the jeweler that sets the industry standards year after year. Genesis Diamonds and pre-owned Rolexes. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Are you looking to get your foot in the door in the sports media business? Do you want to be around the biggest teams in Nashville and learn from some of the best in the business? Well, we're opening that door for you. The entry to working in the world of sports radio exists as a promotions assistant at 102.5 The Game. The Game is looking for a few passionate and outgoing folks to represent the station on site at the biggest sporting events in and around Nashville. Does this sound like you? Email together@cromwellmedia.com. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexroad.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
We'll start with the end, that last drive and then the interception.
Yeah, tough, very frustrating. Obviously an bit of an emotional roller coaster there. You know, you're feeling very confident in your ability to go down and moving the ball, converting, stay on the field, and we get first and goal from the 2, and you're thinking, all right, we got this. We got a couple chances here, and hats off to them. They made a couple good plays, and it's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating, and kind of stings a little bit extra just because I thought we had it there.
Carson Wentz, after his death pick, gave the Titans a victory yesterday. And I kind of figured we were done with Carson Wentz and the Washington Commanders. I mean, Carson sucks. I know he sucks. You know he sucks. Ian knows he sucks. You all know that he sucks. I mean, everybody.
Washington fans know that he sucks.
Washington fans know that he sucks. I mean, he kind of knows that he sucks at this point. Like, Indianapolis knows he sucks. The media that licked his booty, they know that he sucks. Like, everybody knows he sucks. But there's one person on the planet who can't say that he sucks. It's just like how if somebody is married to somebody who is very not good looking, there's one person on the planet who can't say that. Them. And so yesterday, Ron Rivera, the head coach of the Washington Commanders, who, by the way, did himself, in my opinion, no favors on Sunday against Titans. Ron Rivera was asked, why is it that the stinky Giants can be okay, and the Eagles are the best team in the NFL, and the Cowboys with Cooper Rush at quarterback are 4-1, and you guys suck?
Following up on John's question about the Giants, they're up to a faster start. The Eagles, the Cowboys, they've kind of all been rebuilding too the last couple of years, and it seems like they're farther ahead. Why do you think the teams in the division are farther ahead at this point?
Quarterback.
Okay.
No. Didn't even hesitate.
Okay. Now, Rivera was asked some follow-ups about it, and the media, Ian Rappaport in particular, because I saw him tweet about this, the media tried to do a spin job explaining the narrative that when he said that, he wasn't throwing Carson Wentz under the bus. Because, I'm sorry, but to all of us, that little snippet right there in and of itself is throwing Carson Wentz under the bus. Right then and there. Why are all these other teams good and you're not good? Quarterback?
Seems very obvious to me.
He didn't say anything other than that, right? In that cut.
No, he just said quarterback.
And so then what everybody's turned this into is what Ron Rivera tried to follow up with, because the Washington media heard that and said, well, I mean, these other quarterbacks in that division aren't that great either. Here's what Ron Rivera said.
I mean, with quarterback, like the Cowboys, for instance, they don't have Dak Prescott this season and still have been able to win.
They started with
him,
Dak,
but
and they build around Dak, and the offense is built around Dak. Their backup's a guy that is very solid inside of what they do. And the truth is that this is a quarterback-driven league. And if you look at the teams that have been able to sustain success, they've been able to build it around a specific quarterback.
Okay.
He doesn't even walk back his comments. He doubles down on them.
So then he was asked about if he regrets, because Guess whose decision it was to trade for Carson Wentz?
Ron Rivera.
According to everybody, it was his decision.
His number one pick?
He was asked about it.
Chose the quarterback here, though. So do you have any regrets about that, or how do you?
No, I got no regrets about their quarterback. I think our quarterback has done some good things. There's been a couple of games that he struggled. But you look at his numbers from yesterday, and you would say, okay, look at his numbers he's had throughout the year. There was a time he was, very solid. And then, we had the unfortunate Philadelphia game, and he struggled a little bit in the Dallas game. But the way he performed yesterday, it just shows you what he's capable of. And, we chose him because we believe him. We chose him because we looked at what we felt were things that pointed towards him.
There's no coming back from that. So then after that all happened, Ian Rappaport was saying, what Ron Rivera meant was that he was talking about how the other teams have been able to build their rosters around their quarterbacks, whereas Washington has a new quarterback and they haven't been able to build their roster around their quarterback. And it doesn't matter. There's no way that relationship, in my opinion, is over, because I don't know how Carson Wentz can really honestly work for Ron Rivera anymore after saying that. I can't believe a coach that has the experience of Ron Rivera would say that. I mean, if I owned the Washington Commanders, which if I owned the Commanders, a lot of things about that franchise would be different. But if I owned the Washington Commanders, I would fire Ron Rivera after Thursday night's game, win or lose. Because how can Ron Rivera get that entire team? You know the old saying, you can't fire the players?
Uh-huh.
How can Ron Rivera get that entire team to rally behind that quarterback when it's obvious that he doesn't believe in him either? And I don't think there's a way, which means one of them has to go. And I'm not going to fire the quarterback, especially when the quarterback didn't really, in my opinion, force the divorce here. I can't believe Ron Rivera said that. The only thing I can come up with, because I don't think Ron Rivera's stupid. I don't know Ron Rivera, but I don't think he's stupid. And Alex Smith, who played quarterback for Ron Rivera in Washington, apparently yesterday on Countdown, was just giving Ron Rivera the business about how he said that, how could he say that, whatever. But the only thing I can come up with, Dan Snyder is not supposed to be running the franchise because he's such, a piece of crap that, like, the NFL has barred him from running the franchise, so his wife is technically running the franchise.
Uh-huh.
I think we know that Dan's probably... It would not surprise me if Dan Snyder is the one who demanded the trade for Carson Wentz and Ron Rivera didn't want to do it. And this is Ron Rivera's way of sticking it to Snyder of, like, this was your quarterback that threw the interception at the 2-yard line, not my quarterback who threw the ball at the 2-yard line or whatever. But no matter what, I can't believe Rivera said that.
But isn't that almost asking to be fired? Or is it more so Ron Rivera saying, this is the quarterback that I wanted to bring in, but make no mistakes about it, he's the problem, not my coaching. So if you're going to get rid of one of the two, understand that he's the problem.
I can't tell you I don't know that. The one thing that I will say about these press conferences and what guys say, and that I understand quotes out of context. And I think context is important. You all know me. I'm more audio than I am. Like, I listen to cuts. Even when I see a cut said, I go back and I listen to it because I want to hear how it's said. There's nothing to take out of context about what Ron Rivera said. He thinks that the reason that they're not as good as the Giants is because of quarterback. Because I guess that Daniel Jones is just so good that, unless you're able to
notoriously good quarterback.
Unless you're able to draft a Daniel Jones, I just don't know how you can compete with the Washington or with the New York Giants.
Or Cooper Rush.
Cooper Rush just so good. He only got cut before the start of the season. But I have there's no out of context there. Like the Tannehill Malik thing, that was out of context.
And
that
also,
was totally not what Tannehill meant, not what Tannehill said. There's no walking back what Ron Rivera said, what he said. And these guys in these press conferences, they don't say things that they don't want to say. And so I can't believe Rivera said that. And honestly, he should be fired for that. Because there is no way to get that team to believe in that quarterback. Everybody already doesn't believe in that quarterback. But again, the guy whose wife is the ugliest wife in the world can't say that she's ugly. And the guy who's the head coach with a quarterback that nobody believes in can't say that the reason that they're not winning is because of the quarterback. Unless you're done with the quarterback. I can't believe he said it. I can't believe it.
But I do think he's done with the quarterback.
They're going to play Taylor Heineke?
I don't know. I don't know. But, I mean,
that's the position.
Ron Rivera has done enough press conferences that he knows exactly what he is doing. And
he's been an NFL coach for a decade.
He didn't beat around the bush for there to be any sort of inch for misinterpretation. So he's doing something strategically. And
I don't think so. I just think he was mad.
It's just a slip of the tongue?
Not slip of the tongue, just I wanted to say it, so I said it.
So you don't think there's anything to they've had multiple quarterbacks over these past years?
Nope.
While the other teams have pretty much just rolled with the one or two.
Think about this.
But even still, that is still such a slap in the face to Carson Wentz.
It's awful. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, the Philadelphia Eagles hired their coach so that they could keep Carson Wentz and not have to play their quarterback right now. The Dallas Cowboys cut their quarterback at the beginning of this season. And the New York Giants have been waiting to get rid of this quarterback. Ron Rivera, Carson Wentz is the only guy who was chosen by that team to be the quarterback. And Ron Rivera's like, that quarterback. Loser. I can't. What a loser. Ron Rivera, loser. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Nobody thinks the Titans can win the AFC South. I have never seen anything like this. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Let me tell everybody out there about the coming up. Everybody out there that this week's Nashville's best deal is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland burgers will melt your mouth. The fries are crispy goodness, and the milkshakes are sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals while supplies last.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.
We live the game.
Just work on the little things every day.
They think the coaches are just coaches.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome Game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sound.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
What's up, Nashville? It's Michelle Knezvik, and I am telling you all to root for safeties this season with your friends at Superbook Sports. If you bet with Superbook this football season, they will give you a $50 bonus. Yes, a $50 bonus if a safety is scored on Sunday. From a punter running out of the end zone to a QB sack worth 2 points, root for the chaos. I know I will be, and win money with Superbook this fall. Download the Superbook Tennessee app right now and start rooting for two with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for weddings, holidays, birthdays, or for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. And right now, buy a Bartesian and get your first 6 cocktails free when you go to Bartesian.com/drinks. Go to BARTESIAN.com/drinks for your free cocktails. That's Bartesian.com/drinks.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland is a fun new concept by celebrity chef Sean Brock, inspired by his love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. Live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So I just want to ask a question before we get into this, because I saw some things that just absolutely popped my eyeballs out of my head. The Tennessee Titans currently are the division leaders in the AFC South at 3-2 heading into the bye. Is 3-2 great? No. But is 3-2 terrible?
No.
No. And the rest of the AFC South, Indianapolis is second at 2-1. Jacksonville is 2-3, and the Texans stink. So let's go around the room right now before we get into these numbers. Who do you think today wins the AFC South?
I lean the Titans.
Lean?
Yes.
Over who?
Jacksonville.
Okay. Why just lean? Why not more?
Well, it's also early, so I mean, I always take that with a grain of salt. And also, I don't count out the fact that the Titans could probably lose some games that they should lose, and also the fact that the Titans have a really difficult schedule. But if I had to pick, if you gun to my head, you have to pick somebody today, Titans.
Ian, who right now is your favorite to win the AFC South?
I will go with the Titans as well.
Okay. So, I will pick the Titans too. And that really doesn't have as much to do with the Titans as it does with everybody else. But on Friday, I brought this up to Chad Withrow. I could not believe this. I pulled up the FanDuel Sportsbook app after watching that horrendous Indianapolis-Denver Thursday night football game where Indianapolis was credited with a victory. But let's be honest, that was one of the worst games that we all had to watch maybe in the last 10 years. And on Friday, Indianapolis was the favorite to win the division according to the FanDuel Sportsbook app at plus 150. Jacksonville was second at plus 170. The Titans were third at plus 240, and Houston was fourth at plus 4,100. And I couldn't believe that. The Titans and the Jags were tied for the division lead at 2-2. The Titans just beaten the Colts. The Colts don't look like they're figuring anything out. And Indy was still the betting favorite to win the division. And so today I decided I was going to look that up again. And again, I love the FanDuel Sportsbook app, and they're not the ones who set the lines. But I figured, okay, Titans won on Sunday. Jacksonville lost. You know, the Titans have already beaten Indianapolis. Surely the sportsbook odds would have flipped. And they did. But not the way I thought they would. Indianapolis is still the favorite at plus 155. So they were originally plus 150. Now they're plus 155. So they dropped $5. The Titans are second at plus 170. Jacksonville is now plus 240. And Houston has actually climbed up from 4,100 to plus 3,300. So all the FanDuel Sportsbook did was after Jacksonville lost to the Texans and the Titans beat Washington, they just flipped the Titans and the Jags, which, no, duh. The Titans are 3-2 and the Jags are 2-3. But I couldn't believe that FanDuel doesn't see the Titans as the favorites to win this division. And then ESPN put out their power rankings today. And I don't care about where ESPN ranks the Titans or where The Athletic ranks the Titans. I don't care about your power rankings. But I do look at them. And so I looked at the power rankings, and for somehow they came up with this percent chance to win the division. I think this has to do with that ESPN FPI that only ESPN ever talks about, and not one person outside of ESPN ever talks about the ESPN FPI. I remember when we used to have Trevor on, and he would bring up the FPI, and he would be like, according to the FBI, Auburn has an 83% chance to win that game. I'm like, Trevor, ain't nobody care about the ESPN FPI.
Like difficulty of schedule and a bunch of things all put together into a nice little bow?
The ESPN FPI gave the Green Bay Packers an 88% chance to win on Sunday. And I said 30 minutes prior to kickoff on SiriusXM on Sunday, I said, it ain't 88%. I mean, I think the Packers are going to win too, but it's not 88%. There's no way that 3-1 playing 3, it's not 88% on a neutral field. Mm-hmm. And obviously it wasn't. So here's the percent chance to win the division according, and I'm assuming this is the ESPN FPI. It was in the Power Rankings article at ESPN.com. Jacksonville, number 1, at 46.1%. So the ESPN nerds give Jacksonville almost a 50% chance to win this division. Tennessee is number 2 at 29.3. Indianapolis is third at 20.8. And Houston is fourth at 3.4. The one thing everybody can get right is Houston probably has the worst chance at winning this division. And yet, the Titans aren't the favorite to win the division. Somebody help me out here. The Titans are the 2-time division champ. As in, they've won it last year and the year before. Mm-hmm. So if anybody in the AFC South has a track record of winning a division, it's not Lovie Smith's Houston Texans. It's not Trevor Lawrence and the from the Ashes Urban Meyer Jacksonville team that's lost 2 in a row. And it's certainly not Frank Reich, who's never won the division as the head coach at Indianapolis, and the Colts, who haven't won it since 2014, and Indy, who spends all this time talking about wanting to catch up to Tennessee. So just from the who's been there and done that, the Titans are the only team. Then secondly, let's analyze how these teams have performed in the division. How's Indy performed in the AFC South? They lost to the Titans, they lost to the Jags, and they tied the Texans. How have the Texans done in the division? They tied the Colts and they beat the Jags. The Jags, they went out and they beat the Colts, but then
they lost to the Texans.
They lost to the Texans. So the only team that is unbeaten in this division is the Titans. I guess technically Houston is unbeaten, but unbeaten and untied is the Titans. Who has the best coach in the division? The Titans. Who has the best player in the division? The Titans. I don't get it. I don't get it. And when we talk about the schedule, and I spent all that time this year talking about how Indianapolis had 3 games against Minnesota and Pittsburgh and New England, and the Titans would have to play Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Green Bay over that 3-game stretch. That is a big deal, except the Titans have already lost that game. So that game, the Buffalo game, that we would say, okay, that might be the difference in the schedule, is already gone. So that should already be in the kitty, and it's not, oh, well, they're going to have to play Buffalo, because they already have. I'm not arguing that the Titans are some juggernaut, or that, the Cowboys win a game. And it's like every television show around the country is discussing whether or not the Dallas Cowboys can compete for the Super Bowl. I'm not arguing that right now. I'm not arguing whether or not Cooper Rush should be headed to the Hall of Fame, which is a huge topic, apparently, that everybody wants to dive into.
Is it really?
Yeah. I'm not arguing that the Titans, with Ryan Tannehill as the quarterback, should be favored over Buffalo or Kansas City or any of these other teams. By the way, last night with Kansas City, I was definitely pulling for the Raiders just so I could be like, hey, I mean, you beat the Raiders. So this is how close all these teams in the NFL are. But then the Raiders went and decided to coach their way out of that game. But again, I'm not saying that we should all of a sudden get on our knees and bow down to the Titans, because we do enough complaining about the Titans. But this division is dog crap. And I just don't get it, because everybody's stats are telling me the Titans aren't going to win this division. And I'm like, who do you like? Who do you like? And the FanDuel Sportsbook app says the Colts? The Colts. Really? The Colts.
I do wonder how much of that is just money coming into Vegas for the Colts. Maybe even preseason of, Matt Ryan, Jonathan Taylor balled out last year. The Titans traded away A.J. Brown.
So the
Ryan
false
Tannehill,
narrative that has already been proven to be incorrect.
To be incorrect, yes.
That money is so heavy that
it's still pushing the Colts
Titans
as the favorite.
Maybe.
And I don't know.
Maybe.
And is it the factor of the Titans are the only team in the division that have only played a division opponent once?
I mean, Jacksonville won that one game against the Chargers. And it was like, guys, Jacksonville might be good, everybody. And not us, but like everybody And remember, I was like, whoa now. I was like, let's see Jacksonville.
Weird things happen in September.
Let's see Jacksonville win some more games before we go ahead and say that they're fixed or that they've, turned a new leaf.
But also, this early in the season, it's so easy to overreact. It's easy to overreact to a blowout loss against the Bills. It's easy to overreact to a win to the Chargers.
How can ESPN give Jacksonville a 46.1% chance to win this division? It's preposterous.
And that's the certain point where you can dive into analytics all you want. That applies to going for 2, going forward on 4th down.
Analytics!
Who do you think is the best, is the betting favorite in this division.
Analytics!
Sometimes you get so blinded by the numbers that you can't even open your eyes and see what's actually in front of you. That this isn't a good decision to go forward on 4th down. That the Jags don't really look like the best team in the division. They might not be equipped to be the best team in the division this year. I think a lot of times analytics just blind you from what your own eyes tell you.
So I was just thinking this in my head. If I had to go, and I hate the analytic community, but if I had to go with 100% and I had to divvy up the division, I think I would give the Titans a 65% chance to win this division. That's how little I think of the other 3 teams.
What is your AFC South pie?
65% Titans.
Okay.
65% Titans, 25% Jacksonville, 10% Indianapolis, 0%
Texans. Houston.
No chance the Texans win this division.
No, there is no.
I mean, really, I don't think there's much of a chance Indy wins this division. I mean, I'm telling you, Indy sucks. And you know that. I know that.
Yeah, we've all watched Indianapolis. We all watched that Denver game. That was disgusting.
I think there's a legitimate chance that Indianapolis is dead in the water in 2 weeks. Because I don't think they're going to beat the Titans. And so between that and they play Jacksonville this week in the Dome, if Jacksonville beats them and the Titans beat them, I think they're dead. And I think, Frank Reich beating that Denver team might have saved his job. Because at that point, even though they'll be 2-4-1, and they will have lost almost every game in the division except for the Texan game, which they've already tied the first time, they could make an argument at 2-4-1 that they could still get back into it. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, to me, they're dead. Jacksonville, I mean, I'm not sold on Jacksonville, but I certainly didn't expect them to lose to the Texans. So let's start there. And with this idea that literally, the analytic community says Jacksonville's going to be the favorites to win the AFC South. And according to my calculator, it says that they've got, no respect for the Titans. And do the Titans deserve any respect? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get your phones on it. 615-737-1025 here on the program. I just found that to be so incredibly fascinating. And I also wonder, why the Titans get no credit? They've won 3 in a row, and they get no credit. FanDuel Sportsbook, hey, may not agree with their AFC South rankings, but I do love the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's my official sportsbook app. Football season is underway, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That means free bets back if your first bet does not win. Just sign up with the promo code JGM to get started. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads and player props. And you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. And with live betting, you'll get updated odds on the games that have already started. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code JGM. And make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes. Like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah. Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark at Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Hotel. Looking for a romantic dinner with that special someone? Be sure to join us and try one of our signature dishes, like our Australian cold water lobster tail, flash fried to perfection, tossed in lemon butter. Did I also mention we've won the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence 7 consecutive years? Come join us for a memorable meal here at Omni and be sure to ask for Chef Mark.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
When it comes to getting a head start to just because you just played the Colts here in the last 2 weeks, how beneficial is that for you guys?
Yeah, we've had a couple of these unusually quick turnaround games with division opponents. I'm sure they'll have, they may have some personnel things that have changed. We'll have some things that'll change, but, the core of who they are, won't change and how they want to be physical. And, I'm sure some plays will come up in both games that were the same. We'll just have to see what it looks like when we get into the game and not be able to predict, hey, this is how it's going to go. They could do some things differently, and we may have some things that are different as well.
There you go, Vrabel talking about getting a head start on the Colts. Almost Vrabel was thinking we'll be fine. Indianapolis, not a good team. I cannot get over the fact that the FanDuel Sportsbook still has Indianapolis as a plus 155 favorite to win the AFC South. Titans at second at 170. Jacksonville 240 and Houston at 3,300, up from 4,100 last week. I did promise phones, 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, unless you have a thought.
Just the phones.
Phones, what do we have?
One texter checks in and says, FanDuel is just like the mainstream sports media. They don't give the Titans any credit.
Man, it's almost like it's Fox News or something, and we're complaining about the media when we are the media. And that is, in fact, what's going on here. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, do we think that the country still, we know that before the season, the country thought the Indianapolis Colts were good. The country thought it. For whatever reason, we dove into it. And I'm not just talking about the talking heads around the country, but I really, truly felt like people in Des Moines, Iowa thought that the Indianapolis Colts were the best team in the AFC South, which is fine because, a lot of people think a lot of things. But nobody thinks that now, do they?
Well, I think a lot of, let's say the national media won't pay attention to the Titans unless the Titans give them reason to pay attention to them. Like a big-time win against the Bills or the Chiefs or the Chargers.
31-3 against the Bills.
A big-time statement win. And I don't think anyone's going to look at the Titans without giving them reason to. If you're the Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, whatever team Tom Brady plays for, all eyes are going to be on you no matter what. You're going to be talked about no matter what. With the Titans and a lot of smaller market teams, give me a reason to talk about you, and then we'll think about it.
But nobody in this division is talked about.
I feel like Jacksonville was talked about a little bit.
But nobody
when they
watched
beat the
their
Chargers.
games.
No.
That's my point.
And the Colts aren't even really talked about.
No.
Nobody talks about the
This
Colts.
division, so this division and the NFC South are the least important divisions in the NFL because
with the exception of Tampa Bay.
Well, but that's different. I mean, that's
Tom Brady.
That's like a 3-year thing, and then it's over. Like, as soon as he leaves, they go back to the same horrible franchise that they've been for eons before Tom Brady showed up there. You know, they go back to noon kickoffs with Chris Myers calling the game as soon as Tom Brady bails. But it's not like the Colts or the Dallas Cowboys. It's not. I mean, that's my point, is that it's almost like everybody has just been trained to think that the Titans are no good. And the Titans have their problems, no doubt. But every team has their problems. And I just can't get over this. I mean, I'm not, you know, it's like one time when I was in college. And somebody decided to make a life choice that was, in my opinion, not a very good life choice. And that life choice was to not date me. And it wasn't so much the not dating me that bothered me. It was the who they chose to date instead of me that bothered me.
Kind of a slap in the face.
I was like, are you kidding me? Seriously? Seriously? Are you kidding? Them? Really? And that's how I feel about this division when it comes to all this division talk. Because it's like, hey, man, you want to sit there and you want to say, I saw Mike Florio has the Titans at number 10 in his power rankings. I don't know if the Titans are the 10th best team or not. I don't, power rankings or whatever. But if you want to tell me that you think the Chargers, who are 3-2, you think the LA Chargers are better than the Titans. Okay, that's fine.
You can make that argument.
Whatever. But you want to tell me that the Colts are better than the Titans? How? How can you make the argument the Colts are better than the Titans? You want to tell me Jacksonville at 2-3 is better than the Titans after they just scored 6 points in a loss to the Texans? I mean, the two teams the Titans lost to are 4-1. I do not understand.
It's also astonishing that the Giants are 4-1.
The Giants. Boy, the Titans set them up too. That's so disappointing. That is so disappointing. It's like being robbed. Oh, it's so disappointing. But anywho, I just cannot get over this idea. Like, who do the people of Des Moines, Iowa, think is the best team in the AFC South? Who do the people in Cheyenne, Wyoming? They think a lot of things there, but who are
they think a lot of things there?
They do.
Okay.
Who do the people of Cheyenne, Wyoming think is going to win the AFC South? Who do the people of Fort Lauderdale think is going to win it? Shouldn't it be the Titans?
Well, I would say if those people don't watch these games, which I don't know how many people watch AFC South games, to be honest with you. I think they would think the Colts, because that's a bigger name. Because they just probably assume that it's the Colts, not understanding that the Titans have run the division the past couple of years, or not understanding or watching these games, because you might look at the Colts-Chiefs game. And if you didn't watch that game, you could say, oh, well, the Colts beat the Chiefs. They must be pretty good.
Okay, I am going to text Aaron York, who is one of the producers at SiriusXM. He's in New York. He has no allegiance to any AFC South team.
Okay.
In fact, he probably hates the AFC South. I'm going to text him right now and say, who do you think is the best team in the AFC South? Because I feel like he's totally unbiased, and I will see what he says. Because I cannot imagine that people across this country think that one of those other three. Again, it's not about me looking at the Titans and thinking, me? It's more so looking at these other three teams and thinking, them? Like, you think Jacksonville is a better... You think the Jags are better than the Titans? What else we got in the text line?
Another texter texts in and says it's all about the quarterbacks. Everybody knows Matt Ryan.
Their
everybody
quarterbacks
loves
suck
Matt Ryan,
too.
but not everybody knows or loves Ryan Tannehill.
Everybody knows Ryan Tannehill. Now, not everybody loves Ryan Tannehill. Again, it'd be one thing if I was looking at Drew Brees, or if I was looking at Peyton Manning, or even if I was looking at Cam Newton.
The Colts do think that Matt Ryan is so much like Peyton Manning.
They don't think that anymore.
Hopefully not.
It would be one thing if I was looking at, again, just good quarterbacks. I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence and Davis Mills. And that broke down Matt Ryan. And I feel bad for Matt Ryan. But the whole story of the only story that took Matt Ryan off the hook Thursday night is that the other quarterback who had even higher expectations stunk even worse. That's it. I just cannot live in this world where these people think that the Indianapolis Colts are still a good team and they're the betting favorite to win this crap division.
But there is also a lot of football left.
There's
a lot of football left for people to realize who is actually a pretender and who is a contender.
But shouldn't they realize this now?
Does anybody watch the Titans?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
The Titans are the
It absolutely does matter.
The Titans are the two-time defending champs. They're the only team with the respected coach. They're the only team. And it's still like, nope, Titans stink. What else we got?
Another texter texts in and says, who cares what they think?
I mean, I care.
Why?
Because I think it's ridiculous. Just like I think it's ridiculous.
People say a lot of things.
I hear that story that may not be true now that we've discovered about the Tennessee Athletic Department. The more I think about it, the more I think that this is not true. That they reached out to somebody in Knoxville to get 2 goalposts made just in case they beat Alabama to tear down the goalposts.
It's probably not true.
First of all, don't you think that they already have backup goalposts?
I don't know.
I mean, first of all,
Why would you have backup goalposts?
Don't you have to have something on your practice field?
But are you going to take them from the practice field?
I mean, if I were that,
where do you store a goalpost?
On the practice field.
You're going to keep it there all the time?
Well, where do you think the kickers kick on?
Well, that's probably a practice field goalpost.
So you
think they take the goalpost from St. Thomas Sportsplex and bring them over to Nissan Stadium every week?
No, but I think that the goalposts at St. Thomas Sports Park are the exact same dimensions. I think it's the exact same as the Nissan Stadium goalposts.
Well, then what are you going to do on your practice field then?
If you take the practice field ones and put them in the game field,
yeah,
you then have to order more goalposts. But at least you have a backup goalpost with your practice field goalpost.
Well, then maybe they're getting a backup for the backup just in case. I don't know. But anyways.
I think it's ridiculous for Tennessee fans to not be worried about Nick Saban this week. I mean, who cares what I do? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't care. But I do care. Speaking of caring about what people think, 615-737-1025. The Predators have made a decision that I do not agree with, and I am incredibly skeptical of the narrative that has been spun about this decision that the Predators have made. Opening night is Thursday. They're already 2-0. They're technically the best team in the NHL, but they've made a decision, and I don't like it, and I am skeptical of the narrative that they are putting out there around it. We will get to that next, and then we're back into your phones. Caroline, though, is going to tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. Now, before we get into the odds, remember that your first bet is on Caesars up to $1,250. Just download the app and use the promo code RadioFull, and then wager. And if you win, then congratulations, but if not, don't sweat it, because you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, Caesars Sportsbook has new parlays and new odds boosts that you can choose from every single week, whether it's MLB, NHL, or NFL, or you can make your own. Just do it with the Caesars Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Most used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. Download it, people.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Finishing jobs on time, never being idle, and powerful equipment. Meade has the John Deere excavating equipment and the smart grade technology solutions for you and your business. Power your business with a new, used, or rented excavator and get the performance you expect and service you can rely on. Call us today for the equipment built as tough and reliable as you, or visit us at meadtractor.com. That's meadtractor.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Are you looking to move? If so, do yourself a favor and reach out to my friends at TriStar Moving. You can be assured your move will be stress-free. because they've got new utility vans to help with pack jobs to separate your high-value or fragile items from the bulk of your furniture, and their movers are carefully picked and highly trained. No one in the game is doing this. TriStar Moving is raising the standard in the moving industry. When you're ready to move, give them a call. TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, or online at nationalmoving.org/radio, and tell them Jared Stillman referred you for 10% off. That's TriStar Moving.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian home cocktail maker. Bartisan is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian cocktail maker. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for weddings, holidays, birthdays, or for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. And right now, buy a Bartesian and get your first 6 cocktails free when you go to bartesian.com/drinks. Go to bartesian.com/drinks for your free cocktails. That's bartesian.com/drinks.
Jonathan Hutton. You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Preds home opener is Thursday night. Get excited about that, and also hang out before the Preds games at the Superbook Lounge in Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway with 102.5 The Game. Place your bets with the Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials, plus enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Predators home game. So, I brought this up on Friday in the abbreviated show that we had after the Predators started their season with a win over San Jose, and I was perplexed by a decision that the head coach John Hines made, and that was scratching Philip Thomasino and playing Kiefer Sherwood on the second line. Now, look, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like, we're talking line combinations for the first game, getting worked up. It's the first game. Fine, whatever. But yesterday, the Predators announced that they were sending Philip Thomasino down to Milwaukee. And then a narrative started to come out, and people were starting to say, this is going to be good for him. In fact, it's not that they've given up on Thomasino. Because if Thomasino doesn't make it, then that would be about the 17th forward prospect in a row that the Predators have used a high draft pick on, who has not become an impact player for the Nashville Predators, following in the footsteps of Eeli Tolvanen, who has the talent, but was so overhyped when they were comparing him to some of the great players in the league and telling us that as soon as he signs, he's going to be a top 6 forward, to only watch him spend 3 years in the minor leagues before getting called up because of injuries and finally making a name for himself, and even then has been considerably inconsistent since then. And it's like every time they hype up these prospects and then they don't pan out, and they're Dante Fabro, everything else. So much so that I don't even get excited about prospects anymore. I say do the Preds prospects on your own time, because they'll tell me all about Anasafiev or whatever down at Milwaukee, and Ananasiev is his last name.
Afanasiev?
Afanasiev, I think.
No, I think it's Ananasiev, because I watched the Behind the Glass, and that's what the coaches called him. So that's what the coaches said. So make of that what you will. Then again, David Poyle says Borowicki. So who knows?
Saros.
That's not as bad as Borowicki.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
But anywho, so the Predators, the narrative is now coming out. Let me just say this. They might be right. I am skeptical of this narrative. That is, it'll be good for Philip Thomasino to go down to the minor leagues at 21 years old. This was David Poyle on his weekly hit on the midday show earlier today.
We certainly believe that he's a top 6 forward. We saw glimpses of that last year. We put him in position as a young player to play on our team, mostly on the fourth line. You got a little bit of power play time. You got a little bit of time moving up in the lineup. This year we had hoped that he would be ready to take on a more of a primetime role, but it just didn't work out that way. I would think that if I'm looking at our forward prospects, Philip is right there at the top as being, one of our best guys, and we need him to develop. And I don't think, I know this, we just didn't have the opportunity to put him in the lineup at a high place right now based on how other players were playing, and a little bit you have to take responsibility for how he was playing. The training camp was so short. We talked to our players about this at the beginning. It was not fair. We didn't give everybody a lot of opportunities, and so again, try to make our decisions on merit. You try to work with every player, but I really feel in the long run when we look back at this, if Phil gets down there, going to play top minutes in Milwaukee, to play power play. I'm assuming strongly that he's going to be very productive, and we're going to need him. I mean, I've never had a year here where we, didn't have anything, go wrong in terms of injuries, good play, bad play, all those situations. So let's hope he gets down there and gets really going, what have you. And again, I'm sure there's going to be an opportunity. I'm sure there's going to be changes. But, I mean, if we're going to be successful, we need Phil Thomasino to be a top six forward.
I mean, those were a lot of words, but the reality is David Poile told you he wasn't good enough to play on the top six. That's what he said, right?
In a nutshell.
That he wasn't good enough. That, training camp was just, he didn't really have an opportunity. So I'm supposed to believe that because the training camp was short because they had to fly to Prague, that I'm supposed to believe that the Predators didn't give their former number one draft choice every chance to win that opportunity.
And it sounded like they had certain expectations for Philip Thomasino that he just didn't meet.
This is what bothers me. This is what truly bothers me, is the narrative now is he's only 21. He's going down to Milwaukee. He's going to play well. And, this is just a minor setback for a major comeback, right?
I'm sure that's what he wants to portray.
Well, that's what the team is portraying. That's what David Poile said right there. We're going to need him. We still believe in him. Here are the other five forwards that are in the top six for the Predators. Ryan Johansson. Guess how many games he played in the NHL when he was 21 years old?
All of them.
82. Philip Forsberg played 82. Nino Niederreiter played 81. Mikhail Granlund played 63. That was his first full year in the NHL. And Matt Duchene played 58, but he had played 82 games the previous two seasons before that. I'm guessing he got hurt that season. So by the time those guys were all 21 years old, and none of those are Wayne Gretzky, but by the time those guys were all 21 years old, they were all in the NHL, and they weren't going down. Now, the guy that they gave the job to, that they were wanting Thomasino to win, is Kiefer Sherwood. Kiefer Sherwood has played in the NHL in parts of 5 seasons. You know how many total games he's played? 89.
Throughout 5 seasons?
Throughout 5 seasons. He is a 27-year-old who last year played in the minor leagues for Colorado. And when Colorado made the playoffs, the Black Aces, where they call up a bunch of guys from the AHL affiliate that are basically on standby. They practice with the team. They scrimmage against each other. And then that way, when somebody gets hurt, like the Predators Cup final run, they can just stick Freddie Gaudreau in the lineup and they can keep on trucking. So it's essentially the practice squad for NHL playoff teams. Kiefer Sherwood was not a Black Ace for the Colorado Avalanche last year. So he wasn't good enough.
Wasn't even a reserve.
He wasn't good enough to make the practice squad for the Colorado Avalanche. And he is on your second line. And I know he scored a goal in the first game. That's fine. This is what I believe. Terrence Mitchell is starting at corner right now for the Titans over Caleb Farley. And it's only for one reason. It's because Farley ain't good enough. And last year, David Quessenberry, again, a journeyman, backup, free agent, run-of-the-mill, $1 million player. David Quessenberry started at right tackle for the Titans over Dylan Radins, who they drafted in the second round, for only one reason. Because Dylan Radins wasn't good enough. And guess what? You think Caleb Farley's going to be good enough to be a starting corner in the NFL ever?
He hasn't been in year 2, and that doesn't make me feel
Do you think he's going to?
No, I do not.
Do you think Dylan Radins is ever going to be able to start tackling?
No, I do not.
Okay. The truth of the matter is, they can spin it however they want. I am skeptical. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm saying I am skeptical. I think that they whiffed on this. That they think they whiffed on Thomasino. And last year, they were all but compelled to play Thomasino the entire season because they promised all of us that they were going to get younger. And there's no way to get younger if they don't actually play young players. So much to the chagrin of the coach, who they tell me develops young players great, even though none of the young players that he has inherited since he's gotten here have become great players. But I am convinced the coach probably didn't want to play Thomasino last season, but they were kind of stuck to, hey, you know, we told everybody we're going to try to get younger. This year, they're done with all talking about competitive rebuild and the future, and all that's gone because the fans don't care about that anymore. The narrative is now, oh, we believe we can win. So they believe they have a better chance to win right now with a minor league 27-year-old nobody that couldn't be on the practice squad for the Colorado Avalanche than they think they can win with a 21-year-old first-round draft choice. That is concerning. There is no way that they can slice this to me as not a massive step back for Philip Thomasino. And there's no way they can slice this to me and spin out a narrative that they think that Philip Thomasino is going to develop into a star. Because if they thought he was going to develop into a star,
they would let him be a star.
They would put him on the second line. I mean, it is a head-scratching decision. And this comes from the same group that last year would not take Luke Cunnin out of the top 6 no matter what he didn't do. And no, we got to stay with Luke Cunnin. We got to give Luke Cunnin every... Here's Philip Thomasino, a first-round draft choice, who's 21 years old, who had an okay rookie season last year. They set up the entire team for him to be in the top 6. They looked at their team, and they said, all right, we got to re-sign Philip Forsberg, and between him, Duchesne, Johansson, and Granlund, we got 4 guys that are in the top 6, plus Thomasino will be 5, so we need to get one more guy. So they signed Nito Niederreiter. They didn't try to go out and get anybody else. That was their top 6. They show up to training camp, and this minor league Kiefer Sherwood beats out Philip Thomasino. And they actually let him play over Thomasino, and they send Thomasino down. You don't do that if you think that that guy is a star. You don't send Wayne Gretzky down to the AHL. You send guys that ain't good enough down to the AHL. They've been dealing with Dante Fabro's developmental issues for 3 years, and they've never sent him down to the AHL. And remember the narrative that came out, speaking of Dante Fabro. Remember the narrative a couple years ago when I lost my mind, that they benched him in the playoffs in favor of Ben Harper and Eric Goodbranson. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And everybody was like, no, it's left shot, right shot, left shot, right shot, left shot, right shot. So then they acquire Ryan McDonough, and they're playing him with Matthias Ekholm. They both shoot on the same side. What happened to left shot, right shot? Oh, that doesn't matter anymore. No. They benched Dante Fabro 2 years ago. And I said, doesn't he need the experience of playing in the playoffs? Like, don't they need to figure out if he's any good? And so that's what they're doing. They're sacrificing the development of Philip Thomasino in order to play Kiefer Sherwood, who I had never heard of until last week, and is 27 years old, played in 11 games last season for Colorado, had 1 goal and 1 assist, who has played 89 games over 5 years at 27 years old. There is no upside with this guy. And they are playing him over Philip Thomasino for the short-term gain of winning games right now, as opposed to developing the guy who is their best young player.
Unless they don't think that he can be developed.
Unless they've given up. So it's either that they're sacrificing his development at the NHL level in order to win right now, or it is that they have given up on the development. And in my opinion, there is no in between there. So it's whichever one you want. 615-737-1025. Add that to the pot. We'll get back to your phones next. 615-737-1025. Usually I would have kicked that as to a segment that ends an hour and then start off the next segment, but I had to get that off my chest, and I'm sure people are going to want to weigh in on that, so we'll get right to that. 615-737-1025. I cannot believe that they're sending Thomasino down. I cannot believe it. 615-737-1025. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Today, after a warmer start, no frost this morning. We'll go to a warmer afternoon. High temperatures will be in the low 80s, partly cloudy, and no humidity. Our next rain chance will be late Wednesday into Thursday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at xanderinsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
About 80% of new home buyers don't shop around for the best mortgage loan. That's a mistake. Hey, Willie Donick here for my friends at Loan Pronto. Not all mortgages are created equal. People who use Loan Pronto, on average, save $3,500 in closing costs. They get a better rate, which saves them thousands more every year. Your banker or agent's go-to lenders are fine people, but don't assume they're giving you the best deal. Call Loan Pronto for a quick second opinion or go to loanpronto.com. I'll bet you they can get you a better loan, lower rate, without all those annoying closing costs. And when rates drop, Loan Pronto will refinance you for free. No closing costs. Call to get pre-approved in minutes. They can even hook you up with a high-performing real estate agent if you need one. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments. So the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexrode.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
How did he handle it? He handled it well. You know, we had a talk with him, and obviously it's disappointing, and it's not easy for us either. I mean, you know, we recognize he was with us last year, and you know, to be honest, there were times last year we didn't feel like we had the depth, but there were conversations last year like, is it the right thing right now? Should we send him down and give him some time to play? And you look at what happened with Glass. So we had the discussion with him, and he understands that when you really go through and look at, hey, this is where you possibly could play. But if you're not playing on Joe's wing and you're not on the top power play, how are we going to find minutes for you to develop your game? He's 21 years old, and you know, like I said, we expect him to be that player for us, and we have to work together to grow it and use the resources we have. That's why you have the American League. It's why we added a lot of depth to our organization. So we feel like we have good NHL depth, but also you want to have players. If Bartisan and these guys are, Thomasino happen to be in Milwaukee or they're in Milwaukee, you want them to be surrounded by good players that continue to help develop their game. So we feel like it's the right thing at this time, and let's see where it goes from there.
I can't with that. Did you hear what he just said?
See where it goes from there?
That's not what got me. It was, you know, we had a talk with him. It was tough on him. It was tough on us, too. What? So they send Philip Thomasino down to Milwaukee. John Hines says, yeah, we had a conversation when we sent him down to Milwaukee. It was tough on him. It was tough on us, too. How?
I guess because he was upset about it. They didn't want to do that to him.
I mean, it was tough on us, too. What?
It's almost like firing someone.
And that's my point.
But that's probably not easy to do. I've never had to fire anyone, but I'm sure it's pretty difficult.
When I get worked up about this Thomasino thing and what sending him down means, because the narrative that is coming out, the Nashville Post had an article about it today. The narrative becomes, well, he's going down there to get his confidence back, and it's not that they don't believe him in him. In fact, they believe in him so much that they're sending him down there, but they have to treat it like they fired somebody. Why do they have to treat it like they fired somebody? Because Philip Thomasino knows what they're doing, and they know what they're doing. They just don't want to admit to all of us that they're sending down the guy that they hyped up, who they drafted in the first round, because they think Kiefer Sherwood, at 27 years old and 89 career games over 5 years, is better than him. Like, that's the thing. Like, they don't want, it's like the Farley thing. The Titans even tried to find ways to put him in the game the other day, and they literally can't put him in the game because the second they put him in the game, the other team just throws a touchdown pass on him. But it's like the Predators, they want to try to hide him maybe on the fourth line, but they don't think he can play on the second line, and they don't think he can be on the power play. He's an offensive forward. That's what offensive forwards do, and if he can't do it at 21 years old, that means he's not good enough. And that means that he's never going to be good enough. He might be good enough to play in the league, but when they drafted Philip Thomasino and the way they've talked about him for the last couple of years, it wasn't like we were talking about Craig Smith, was it? Because I don't need any more Craig Smiths. I've got enough Craig Smiths. And right now it's like, man, maybe we should just hope he's Craig Smith. And that's embarrassing.
And then from there, I have a question of, is it the scouting that's a problem, or is it the development that's a problem?
Honestly, it's probably both. Look, man, we all know how I feel about the organization and how they're running the hockey ops and how I find it to be regrettable. They're 2-0. Don't want to go down that road today. But, again, there's no way around the fact that they are demoting Philip Thomasino. Remember when Derrick Henry said to me when I asked him about a contract extension, he said, wouldn't you want to be promoted at your job? Well, the same thing. Would you want to be demoted at your job?
No.
Nope. And that's exactly what they did to him. Why does someone get demoted? Because they're not good enough. Now, it was hard on us, too. That's rich. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-102. By the way, cannot get over the fact that the betting favorites and the ESPN FPI have the Titans as the second leading favorites to win the division. I asked Aaron York, a producer at SiriusXM, who has no dog in any fight, who the best team in the AFC South is. He said Tennessee. So at least people across the country, don't think that Jacksonville might be the best team. What do we have in our text line?
Taylor checks in about fellow Thomasino and says Thomasino has had 32 points as a 20-year-old rookie. No way they've given up on him.
Well, if they haven't given up on him, then why is he not on the team?
That's a very good question.
It's like I saw Willie had a tweet out yesterday about how Thomasino's going to Milwaukee, and I love Willie. I think Willie's a great host, great play-by-play guy. I love Willie. But Willie was talking about, and I forget what it said in the tweet, but it was like, Milwaukee's going to be pretty good this year. I don't care. What do I care about Milwaukee? And I hear this all the time, hey, down in Milwaukee, and they show it on the Jumbotron. Down in Milwaukee, the Admirals are chasing the playoffs, and I don't care about Milwaukee.
The same thing about Connor Ingram, taking him out of the AHL playoffs.
Oh, can't take him out of the AHL playoffs.
You want Milwaukee to win over the Predators? You want to give them a better chance to win over the actual team?
By the way, how much faith do they have in Connor Ingram? They got rid of him, too.
Yeah, have fun in Arizona.
So they really have a lot of faith in these guys that they tell us they have faith in. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, maybe it'll light a fire under Philip Thomasino. He was outplayed, but he should be humbled.
Yeah, look, that goes one way or another. I don't even know the kid, and I assume the person in the text line doesn't know the kid either. That goes one way or another, benching people and sending them down and demoting them. Because what is happening is you're embarrassing him. What you're doing is you're telling the entire world that Kiefer Sherwood, this no-talent 27-year-old, who's been around the league, who Colorado didn't even want to put it as a black ace last year, you're saying that he's better than Philip Thomasino. You're embarrassing him. That's what you're doing.
Well, and it's two different things of, is it the attitude? Does he need to be humbled? Does he need to be sent down and say, hey, you need to get your act together and you need some time to figure it out?
I haven't heard anything like that.
Or is it lack of skill and you just simply are not good enough to play on this hockey team? And I don't know the answer to that. But it seems like those are the only two possibilities.
The idea of, this will light a fire under him. If he's a bottom six forward, then I don't care about this. Like, I don't care about bottom six forwards but don't be hyping them up when they're coming up about, oh, God, this guy, he's going to be, he's going to be the next Austin Watson? Is that what I'm supposed to be excited about? This guy, he might be the next Pontus Aberg. We really feel like he's got the skill and the talent to score 19 goals one day in the NHL. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, you hype these prospects up like they hyped up Fabro. Hyped him up like he was ready to step in for PK Subban, and he wasn't. And they've hyped up Thomasino, and they hyped up Tolvanen. David Poile did the hyping up. David Poile, when they only acquired Ryan Hartman at the trade deadline in 2018, when they were truly contenders, and they were going for the cup, he said in front of everybody he left a spot open for Eeli Tolvanen, because once Eeli Tolvanen's KHL season was over, they were going to sign him to a contract, and then he was going to come right in and be right on the team that was going for the cup. And then he signed, and then he played a couple of games, and then he didn't play any playoff games, and then he didn't play on the team the next year, and then he didn't play on the team the next year. And then there was all this bull crap that was like, oh, well, he's getting used to the North American ice because the international ice is larger. I'm like, did Ovechkin have to get used to the North American ice? No. And so that's fine if he's going to develop into a bottom six forward in his career and he's the next Craig Smith. That's fine. But I'm not losing my panties over Craig Smith. I'm not. Like, those are guys you lose with. It goes back to my Derrick Henry thing the other day where I'm like, your team has Derrick Henry and the other team doesn't. And it is, some dudes out there are just freaking special. And they hype up these prospects like they're special. And then they send them down for Kiefer Sherwood. You don't send down Jeffrey Simmons. You don't send those guys down. You send Dylan Radins down. And that's why. And so, again, it's their choice, and maybe Sherwood's looking for the opportunity, and maybe this lights a fire under Thomasino, and he's the next Gretzky, and it'll be like Michael Jordan being cut in high school. Maybe. We'll see.
Someone in my personal text line says you cannot compare Eeli Tolvanen to Alex Ovechkin. That person would be Adam Finken.
I'm just saying that, he's going to come in right away. He's the best player in the Olympics. He's going to come in right away. By the way, those were the last Olympics, or 2 Olympics ago, not the last Olympics. He's the best player. Doesn't make the team in 2018, doesn't make the team in 2019, doesn't make the team in 2020, doesn't make the bubble series in 2020, doesn't start the season in 2021, and then finally everybody gets hurt and he has to play. Oh, yeah, I tell you what, that really matched the hype. No, boy, it was like Joe Burrow. Really matched the hype right there. Oh, yeah, no, he starts right away. They're in the Super Bowl in year 2. Oh, got it. They hype these guys up as special. Then they're not special. Then they're like, oh, no, it hurt us too.
I'm sure it did hurt.
It hurt us
I'm
too.
sure it did.
That was something. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025 here on the program. We are just rolling along. So I got 2 things that are just up my keister about yesterday's Monday Night Football game that I want to get into, and kind of just the whole NFL. And it kind of involves the Titans. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The door's on the board. Strike 3, sounds win.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air. Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by Houston Sherwood.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now, mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100%, feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
Stillman Company. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury. He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios here on the program. So I watched Monday Night Football last night, and I was so thankful on 4th and 1 when the Raiders dialed up the throw the ball deep to Devontae Adams play, that they had kept that in their playbook and had not used that against the Titans, because that whole throwing the ball to Devontae Adams thing works really, really well. And I'm just glad that the Raiders did not use that when they lost to the Titans. But I was watching that game, and I saw what everybody else saw. 2 things that have bothered me, the fallout of the Monday night game, that 2 things I feel like have really highlighted themselves as far as I'm concerned. And maybe this is because I watched ESPN this morning when I woke up, and this is what they were talking about. The first thing is the Raiders scored a touchdown with about 4 minutes and change to go to essentially tie the game against Kansas City. And Josh McDaniels decided to go for 2. And they did not get it. And so the score was 30-29. And the final score was 30-29. And so this is what's weird about the NFL. The NFL has decided that the analytic people, and they blame these analytic people as if there's not some coach that's in charge of making these decisions. But the NFL has decided as a whole, and the media that covers the NFL has decided that if you can convince somebody that the dumb thing is the smart thing, people will not question it because they will anticipate that the work that has been done in order to get to the conclusion that the smart thing is the smart thing, when in reality it's actually the dumb thing, they will assume that you are right. and that your decisions must have greater logic than the gut feeling of common sense over the last 102 years of football, that you must be right, even though it never works. Think about this. Brandon Staley goes for it all the time, the coach of the Chargers, because the analytic people, he's an analytic guy, and the analytics say go for it, and the analytics do. Do we ever talk about when the analytics work for the Chargers?
No, because it's not as fun to talk about when the analytics work. It's more fun to talk about, look at this idiot that went for it on 4th down and didn't work.
Well,
look at this idiot that went for 2 and it didn't work.
It didn't backfire on them this week. They got lucky maybe, but it didn't backfire on them this week.
Right, but does it actually? I mean, I'm trying to think. When did the Chargers win a game because they went for it in the last 2 years with Staley as the coach? Because I can tell you all the times they lost a game.
They've lost games.
I can't tell you when they win games, but I can tell you when they lose games.
And I don't know how many times it's come down to, okay, goal line stand, and the Chargers absolutely positively have to go for 2 in order to win a game, and it has worked. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are instances where they have gone for 2 or they've gone for it on 4th down in the middle of the game, and they've held on to that lead, or they kept a lead because of going for 2. So I don't know. I can't answer that question.
But nobody talks about that. Everybody always talks about the dumb stuff. The nationally televised games that everybody watch, dumb stuff. The going for it, the screwing up the tie against the Raiders, the going for it against the Chiefs last year. And so Josh McDaniels goes for it because he's got to be the smartest guy in the building. They don't get it, they lose. And, I mean, that should not be acceptable. The head coach going for it when he has no business going for it because I trust my players or my team. I don't mind. If you're the visiting team at Arrowhead Stadium and you score with 31 seconds to go and you decide to go for the win right there as opposed to playing Patrick Mahomes in overtime. But with 4 minutes and change left on the clock, Patrick Mahomes is still getting the ball. So it's not like, that you can keep the ball out of his hands to win a game. The second thing, and I think this is a much larger issue, and boy, they were complaining about this on TV this morning. Everybody seems to think that the NFL now has a chronic roughing the passer problem. That the officials saw the Tua hit, and because of the Tua hit, they have decided to throw every flag for roughing the passer. I have not watched every game this week, so I can't speak to it. I did see the Tom Brady hit, which I had not seen yesterday when we were on the air, and that was a bad penalty. And I saw the Chris Jones one yesterday, and I thought that was a bad penalty. But I don't think that the NFL has a roughing the passer problem. I think where this roughing the passer problem comes from is really the fact that the NFL has a Jerome Boger problem. Because Jerome Boger had called a phantom roughing the passer penalty on Tom Brady that was a bad call. We all know Grady Jarrett sacked him just fine, and Jerome Boger threw the flag and called roughing the passer. And somehow every national show in America went on and on and on about roughing the passer and what's fair and what's a good call and what's a bad call and is Brady getting the star treatment and are we protecting the quarterbacks too much and all of this stuff. And I'm here to tell you right now that this isn't the first time in the last 2 years that Jerome Boger has called a roughing the passer penalty out of nowhere that completely swung a game one way or another. In fact, last year when the Titans played the Saints, right before the end of the first half, Ryan Tannehill threw an interception in the end zone that the Saints picked off that would have changed the game. I believe the Titans won by 2.
I believe so.
And so
Ryan missed Tannehill, 2 extra points.
Ryan Tannehill throws an interception right before the half that gets wiped away because of personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, half the distance to the goal, first down, Titans score a touchdown, they win the game. The difference is nobody watched the Titans play the Saints, so nobody talked about it. So Jerome Boger just keeps making the same bad calls. Made the same bad call last year on a phantom roughing the passer call on Ryan Tannehill that won the Titans a game. But nobody was outraged about it because nobody saw it because it was the Titans playing the Saints. Tom Brady does it. Everybody sees it. Everybody complains about it to the nth degree. And now the outrage has become, we have a roughing the passer problem. And I do not think that football has a roughing the passer problem. I think they have a Jerome Boger problem. I think they have a bad official problem. And not just Boger, but he's the worst. But, I mean, Land Clark the other day, and again, this goes back to nobody saw it. Montez Sweat sacked Ryan Tannehill, got up, took his helmet off in the middle of the pocket. That is not a debatable penalty.
It's also very obvious.
It's right in the middle of the field. It's not like he was at the sideline, took his helmet off before the second foot hit the white on the out of bounds. He was in the pocket, sacked the man, took his helmet off, and then as he was running realized, oh, I better put my helmet back on, and he did. That's not a debatable penalty. Like, for instance, rolling a stop sign. That's a debatable ticket because did I stop? Did I not stop? I mean, I rolled the stop sign, but did I not?
Did I stop for 2 seconds?
Carrying a gun through an airport is not a debatable crime.
Pretty obvious.
It is a crime. You cannot carry a gun through an airport. You cannot take your helmet off on the field. That's a 15-yard penalty. They just didn't call it. And so what's happened is, for some reason, and I don't know why it's this way, but instead of calling the problem what the problem is, instead of discussing the root problem of the reason that the Atlanta Falcons lost and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won is not because of the roughing the passer rule. That is not why. It is not because the referees are throwing more flags after Tua got hit to protect the quarterbacks or this that's not why. The Atlanta Falcons lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Jerome Boger stinks. And this has been this way for literally 15 years. And the NFL is going to do nothing about it. It is the only person in the 4.5 years of hosting the Jared and the GM program that the GM literally campaigned for on air to lose his job. Nobody else. He didn't call for Butch Jones to be fired. He didn't call for Ken Wisenhunt to be fired. He didn't do any of that. Jerome Boger's the one guy. And the NFL just keeps running him back out there. And so I turn on the TV, and every day for the last couple of days, it's like, the roughing the passer rule. No, it's not the roughing. The roughing the passer rule is fine. I don't have any problem with the way the roughing the passer rule is written. You hit the guy after he throws the ball like Ryan Tannehill got hit the other day, that's a penalty. You hit the quarterback in the head like Jeffrey Simmons did on Carson Wentz, even though he didn't mean to the other day, that's a penalty. You launch yourself into the quarterback, that's a penalty. You drive the quarterback into the ground, that's a penalty. You hit the quarterback after they blow the whistle dead, that's a penalty. I don't have a problem with roughing the passer. I have a problem with everybody thinking that a Jerome Boger problem is a roughing the passer problem. That's what I have a problem with. So the two things from the Monday night game and the Chris Jones thing, I just thought that was a bad call. I didn't think it was they're protecting the quarterbacks too much. I think the referee saw, how fat Chris Jones is land on Derek Carr and was like, oh, he put his weight on him and threw the flag. I just think it's a bad call. But that, and then this chronic ridiculousness of these coaches, the egos that they have, where these coaches think that they know more than everybody else, so they think that they're the genius for going for two, as opposed to, tying the game like every other coach has done for the last 102 years, and then putting the defense back out on the field, getting a stop, getting the ball back and winning the game. Apparently, no, we can't do that. We have to go for two every time. So those two things just got up my craw. So I just wanted to.
And it's not just about, I hate it when it doesn't work. Sometimes I hate it when it does work. I hate going for two when you don't absolutely positively have to. If you can tie the game and you can put some trust in your defense to hold the Chiefs off for 4 minutes and then maybe get the ball back and maybe march the ball downfield and then get a game-winning field goal, game-winning touchdown, I'd rather do that, or I'd rather take it to overtime. Just tie the game and play it safe. Same thing with going for it on fourth down. If you go for it on fourth down at 4th and 10 and you get it, good for you. I don't like that decision.
The only time I'm okay with going for two, and it depends on the game, and it depends on your opponent, is if you don't think you really can win in overtime. Like if you think you're the underdog and you go for it
the way that the game has been going.
Like I had no problem with Brian Daboll going for two against the Titans. I really honestly thought he was going to, because they were moving the ball pretty well, and the idea of giving the ball to the Titans in overtime, I wouldn't have wanted any part of. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. How many more games does Jerome Boger get to mess up? Infinity. So I do think that it was good for Tennessee that they beat LSU the way that they beat LSU. But there's one problem that is going to come with that. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company right here on 102.5, 106 through the game. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling. and electrical. Those are my guys. I love Hiller. They've been taking care of my home for years, and I promise you that they can do the exact same for you. And let me tell you that fall means cooler weather is coming, so make sure your family is warm in your home and out with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes HVAC replacement, germicidal UV light, an extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free Solo smokeless stove. Or get a free Solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and descaler. Hiller is offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases, and their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or services free guarantee. And I love Hiller, and I promise you that they'll do a fantastic job. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Football and Fireball is a match made in heaven. And by heaven, of course, we mean Twin Peaks. Spice things up next game day with a shot of our favorite cinnamon whiskey. Twin Peaks in Cool Springs, made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
The Electronic Express Columbus Day sale is here. Sail on into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Apple, Sony, Cuisinart, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win if you sign up with the promo code JGM. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Get paid and get your winnings fast. All in an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code JGM. And make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, and your refund is issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. Please see terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Please call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland is a fun new concept by celebrity chef Sean Brock, inspired by his love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
We're going to play a really good Tennessee team. This game means a lot to a lot of people in Alabama. It's kind of a rivalry game, and it's always been an important game for us. Tennessee's got an outstanding team. They're undefeated. Josh has done a really, really good job there. Probably one of the most explosive offenses, if not the most explosive offense, in the country. They've got really good wide receivers. 4 guys have lots of production. They've got 2 really good running backs, lots of production. The quarterback, Hooker, has really done a nice job of executing their offense. He's one of the leading pass efficiency guys in the country, as well as has the ability to extend plays and make plays with his feet. He's a very good athlete all the way around and has had an outstanding year. Their defense is, one of the top defensive teams, especially in terms of creating negative plays and making people difficult for them to score. 17 points a game is, really good and one of the tops in the SEC. And they're always really solid with their specialists and on special teams. So this is a really, really good team, a real challenge for us. And our priority has to be, we got to get it right ourselves and, so that we do a better job of putting ourselves in positions of having a chance to be successful. And when we do that, we got to take advantage of it.
There you go, Nick Saban hyping up Tennessee. But he doesn't need to hype up Tennessee this week because Tennessee smoked LSU on Saturday, and everybody saw it, including all those kids for Alabama. And I will say, it makes Tennessee fans feel good to be relevant again, doesn't it?
Oh, they love it.
They love
Of course
being
they
relevant.
do. I mean, any fan base would.
Sure. But here's the thing. It's not going to help them win on Saturday. And that's what I love about college football is that, and really football in general, what do I always say? Whenever the team the Titans are about to play has a huge Sunday, Monday night game, and it's the Bills versus the Chiefs, and the Titans are playing the Chiefs the next week, and what do I always say? Go Chiefs. Because I want that team to come into Nissan Stadium having just felt so good about the victory that they just won. I love it when that happens. And everybody's talking about the team that the Titans are getting ready to play. And in this case, the one thing Tennessee better recognize is everybody's talking about Tennessee, especially inside the orbit for those Tennessee players. And you would think that must be a great thing, Jared. What are you saying, that we don't want hype for our program? I'm not saying that. I'm sure it's great. Great for your program. But it's also good for Alabama this week. Because the number one thing that Nick Saban gets bothered by is what he refers to as rat poison. And it all started after a Texas A&M game in 2017 in which Nick Saban yelled at the media and said that he needed the players to stop listening to them and he needed the players to start listening to him. And that all these good things that you write about our players, it's like rat poison to us. And I think everybody got the analogy. And for some reason, everybody liked that so much that now anytime we start talking about artificial inflation with egos for Alabama, it automatically goes back to rat poison.
Rat poison.
Well, if you're going to get Alabama, the best shot you have is for them to either be really hurt or for them to get a nice big spoonful of rat poison before they play you. And Nick Saban knows in today's day, it is impossible to shield the players from rat poison.
Well, everybody's got phones.
Everybody's got phones. Everybody's got social media. Everybody's got cousins. Everybody's got grandmas. Everybody's got brothers. Everybody's got everybody to hype them up. The players can have agents now. His starting quarterback is doing Dr. Pepper commercials. There's no way to shield them from the rat poison. There's no way to say that everything in here stays in here and everything that, I say goes. But those players do know who knows best. And they know it's him. And those players do know at Alabama that when things aren't going well for them, and we all saw what happened on Saturday. In fact, that game actually got a higher TV rating than the Tennessee LSU game got. But all those players know, every last one of them, they all know in Alabama who knows the most. Him. And they're going to listen to him this week. So it's great because Tennessee fans, more than anything, they just want to be respected. They just want the Tennessee football program to have respect. Well, you're going to get respect this week. College game day is there, and college game day is not there because there aren't other games for college game day to go to. Because they could go to Penn State, Michigan. Now, I don't think that college game day would go to a Big Ten game over an SEC game when the Big Ten just signed that huge deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC, and the SEC just signed that big deal with ESPN. I don't think college game day would go to a Big Ten game after that. Well, I mean, not that they're going to shun the Big Ten, but if it's Big Ten or SEC, they're going to take SEC every time.
And sometimes there's going to be an obvious, really good Big Ten matchup
Sure.
that they just can't ignore.
Like
Probably Ohio State,
State,
Michigan.
right.
Yeah,
Somebody,
they're not going
right.
to ignore that. But it's hard to ignore this Tennessee-Alabama game, a two top 10 matchup.
I bet you Big Noon Sunday is at the Fox one, Big Noon Saturday, or whatever it's called. Big noon kickoff, big noon Saturday,
kickoff.
whatever they call it, the Urban Meyer one, where they have no morals. That's going to be, I would assume, probably at Penn State, Michigan, because that's the Big Ten game, and that's the Big Ten channel, but you got College Game Day. It's going to be the number one rated game of the week. It's going to probably get, 10 million viewers is New Year's Six bowl game, Notre Dame versus a good team, big Ohio State or Alabama game. I don't think it's going to get 10 million viewers, but I think it's going to be just short of that, probably in the 8 range. It's going to be a huge game. So for the Tennessee fans that are like, we just want respect. Well, you're getting your respect because I think Tennessee's a good team, and the country thinks Tennessee's a good team. And when Butch Jones started off 5-0 in 2016, I didn't think Tennessee was a good team, and I didn't give them a bunch of respect. But I'm giving Tennessee respect. Nick Saban's giving Tennessee respect too. But the advantage of rat poison is gone this week for Tennessee. And they need it because they're going to need every advantage they can get against Alabama. Trevor Maddich will join us next. I'm going to pose this question to Trevor. Alabama is an 8-point favorite. Should they be? Should they really be favored by 8 at Neyland Stadium? I saw that number 8, and I was like, after I saw Tennessee LSU on Saturday, and I saw Alabama play A&M, I'm like, 8? If I was making the line, I think I'd go even pick 'em. Maybe Tennessee -2. But I think I'd go even pick 'em. We'll ask Trevor that next. Edley's Barbecue. I'm sure a lot of people are having the game over to watch the game. You're having a bunch of people over, or if you're thinking about having a bunch of people over, be sure to talk to my friends at Edley's. I absolutely love Edley's. I love Edley's without catering or tailgating. But if I had to cater or tailgate an event, they'd be my first call. Let Edley's cater your next event. Voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. Edley's Barbecue is a winning pick. They've got pickup, delivery, and full-service catering. And they include full bar packages and bartending services, which is perfect for small gatherings, corporate meetings, box lunches, and team celebrations. And if you've got a special occasion, like my family did a year ago, before I was even telling you all about Edley's, if you've got a special occasion like a wedding, a rehearsal dinner, a big birthday party, having people over for the game, Edley's is the spot. I tell you what, get those smoked wings, because that's usually my favorite at Edley's. They come in easy 25 and 50 count platters. Go ahead and get the smoked wings. You'll be the hit with that. And everything else they've got, which is just fantastic. Call your neighborhood Edley's or order online at edleysbbq.com.
Tobin rips one from the left circle.
The Predators win a perfect 2-0 in Prague.
Nino Niederreiter buried that. What a play.
And return to Smashville with 4 valuable points to start the season. Now all eyes turn to the Dallas Stars and the home opener on Thursday.
Backhander stopped by Searles.
Pre-game at 6:30. Puck drop at 7:30. We are Smashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If you are experiencing persistent shoulder pain, that may be the result of overuse or an injury such as a rotator cuff tear or tendonitis. The world-class orthopedic team at Houston Clinic Orthopedics will give you the appropriate medical attention to prevent any additional damage to the shoulder. Chronic pain or a permanent injury may occur without proper treatment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics is conveniently located where you work and live. Visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
This is a relationship, just like your relationship. Dating and getting married is awesome and fun, but having been married for 24 years, I can tell you it only gets better.
Meet Ward Herbert, manager at Genesis Diamonds, talking about the importance of having a long-term marriage with your spouse and your jeweler.
What's in the DNA here is relationship building. How can we be a part of your love story forever? It's your engagement ring, it's your wedding band, it's your anniversaries, it's gifts for your children, it's being a Genesis customer for life.
Genesis Diamonds, where it's never about making a sale, it's about making a hero.
The greatest joy I get is helping you find your perfect ring, helping you find your perfect diamond, and having you walk out with a huge smile on your face because you know she's going to love it and it's going to be something that you can be proud of forever.
And Ward knows a thing or two about relationships as a marriage counselor and an ordained minister. He can provide a little extra added value.
I did a wedding ceremony for one of our customers 2 months ago. He did not have a minister at the last minute, and I performed his wedding ceremony for him.
Genesis Diamonds, going above and beyond for every customer.
Now you may kiss the bride.
Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Do Tennesseans know every word to Rocky Top? Well, the construction industry doesn't call our area rock country for no reason. Parman Tractor and Equipment is your tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's employee-owned Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. So if you hit rock, need a breaker, and it's time to dig, give them a call. Rent a track loader, an excavator of any size for landscaping, building a pool, construction, utilities, or more. Visit ParmanTractor.com, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Join us for the Wednesday edition of Robbie and Rex Road. We'll be joined by Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee coming up at 7:30. Paul Kaharski at 8 o'clock as well, talking Titans. And as always, your thoughts at 615-737-1025. It all gets started at 6 o'clock. Robbie and Rex Road, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5, The Game.
Big college football weekend, the game of the week, Tennessee versus, I almost said LSU, I don't know why, Alabama on Saturday. Get excited. I'm excited. You all should get excited. Hey, play silly underdog picks. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance at great prizes. Play now at theGameNashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly underdog picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports. Voted the number one sports book in Vegas. Download their app today. The sports books currently have Alabama as an 8-point favorite at Neyland Stadium on Saturday. I was kind of shocked when I saw that number. And the way I think it through is it entices bettors to bet Tennessee. They bet Tennessee, and then boom, Alabama drops the hammer on them, and all the bettors that betted Tennessee lose, but I know that's not how they set lines. Trevor Maddich joins us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Twin Bigs, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. When experience matters. Trev, let's start right here. Do you think that Alabama should be favored by 8 points on the road at Tennessee?
No, I think that's too much. And there's a couple of reasons. One of them is we still don't know what the status of Alabama quarterback Bryce Young is going to be. And that's a real problem, not just because of his ability to play or not play, but even if he does play, he will likely not have the strength in that arm to be able to drive the ball deep down the field and to the sidelines for 4 full quarters. And if that proves to be true, even if he does play, then Tennessee, and you haven't been able to say this for many years, that Tennessee's going to have the better quarterback, that Alabama will go into a game with a distinct disadvantage at the quarterback position, even if Bryce Young plays, if it proves that his arm isn't strong enough and in good enough condition to be able to drive the ball where he normally drives it, because that'll change the way that the defense plays. And so I think 8 points is an awful lot of points given the uncertainty at the Bama quarterback position.
Trevor, I do think Bryce Young's going to play. If Bryce Young doesn't play, I think Alabama will lose. But I have really not given Tennessee a lot of respect over the last 7 or 8 years since I've been back in town on the radio here. Even when Butch Jones started off 5-0 in 2016, I didn't give them a lot of respect. After what they did to LSU this past week, I predicted them to start the season at 10-2. Trevor, I have a lot of respect for this Tennessee team. And I think it's the coach and the quarterback. Do a lot of people in college football have the same level of respect that maybe Tennessee hasn't had in about, 20 years?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's because of the offense and the way they're able to light up the scoreboard. I mean, the defense is doing the best they can. They're a bit undermanned, and now their top corner's been out for a little while now, will continue to be. We don't know about the status of their starting safety because of an off-the-field issue. And so these are all things that make the defense a bit vulnerable. But the offense has more than compensated for that and allowed the defense to be able to just attack and try to get turnovers. And if they get beat, okay, our offense is going to outscore the other side anyhow. So it creates issues there. So that offense is so balanced. I mean, they can run the ball well. They've got multiple receivers, even with Cedric Tillman out, that can make plays down the field. And they can hit anywhere on the field with the quarterback, Hendon Hooker. I mean, he's got the arm and the accuracy to force the defense to cover everything all the way deep down the field, 60 yards down the field, and 53 and 30 yards wide at all times, because Hooker can hit him there. And then his ability to run creates other problems, because while you're defending the passing attack with multiple good receivers all over the field, and you got to worry about the running back. Now you got to worry about the quarterback. You really need 12 defenders to start to defend this offense with the skill that they have. And there's only 11 that you get to have on the field. And so that offense is what's giving this team the respect, or it's what's spearheading the respect on a national level. And I think that an awful lot of people don't just give Tennessee a chance to win this game. They give Tennessee a chance to get to the SEC championship game.
See a chance to beat Georgia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Their defense will need to stay healthy because they will win a high-scoring game. I mean, the offense needs to score a lot of points. If it's a low-scoring game, they're in trouble because Georgia is better built to win a low-scoring game with the way their defense can get you off the field. But the Georgia defense, while it is outstanding, has shown some cracks. And offenses that go and attack them and really challenge them and don't fear the Georgia defense have had some success. I mean, Missouri did that. They ran right at them. They threw the ball deep down the field. Kent State didn't shy away from Georgia. They went at them, and they scored a bunch of points against the Georgia
come on,
defense.
that was a rat poison game, Trevor. You know Georgia didn't care about Kent State.
But still, you got to line up, and there's a guy in front of you. There's a guy in front of you. You got to line up, and on this play, one of you is going to win, me or you. And I get it. It was just Kent State, and they were kind of taking a break and all that stuff. The point is that an offense like Tennessee that not only can go right at Georgia, but they can go at Georgia without having to worry about tendencies. And with tempo, they've got a chance to beat them. Now, we're getting ahead of ourselves because, Alabama, looms. But Tennessee can lose to Alabama and still get to the SEC championship game. Tennessee can lose to Alabama and still go to the playoff.
Trevor,
depending on how they lose, if they win out the rest of the way. So normally you say that mathematically, and it's like, okay, well, that's just really silly. It's just mathematically, but it's not realistic. This year is the first year in a long time that a lot of people, including me, think that there's a realistic chance if they catch a couple of breaks.
Trevor Matich is our guest, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Let's just say, neutral field, Bryce Young plays. Who is the better team when you look at these two, sideline? You look at the Tennessee sideline, you look at the Alabama sideline. Who's better and how close is it?
Alabama is the better team. Their defense is much better, like much, much better. And offensively, when you combine all the skill that they have with the Heisman-winning quarterback, Bryce Young, if he's fully healthy, you put all that together with the defense, and as a whole, the Alabama team is better. But where we have the if here, what if, is if Bryce Young does play and if his arm isn't able to drive that ball down the field into the sidelines. Because if that's the case, then it'll make it harder to run. It'll make it harder for the short passes to turn into long yards after catch because more defenders will be up near the line. And Alabama's receivers are still a work in progress. I mean, they show flashes of talent. They show flashes of big playmaking ability, but then they'll drop passes. They'll be in the wrong spot. They're inconsistent. So you combine that with a quarterback that doesn't threaten you like he normally would, and that's where this Saturday's Tennessee team needs to be evaluated next to Alabama differently than if Bryce Young were a known commodity right now. And by the way, Bryce Young might not play because Alabama doesn't need to win this game either. Alabama can lose this game and win out and still go to the playoff and be SEC champions. But they can't do all that if Bryce Young plays in this game, gets his shoulder banged up some more, gets it injured some more, and misses a few more games because they have a brutal stretch of division games coming up, starting with Mississippi State, that they're going to have to keep up with on offense most likely. And so it'll be interesting to see what they do with Bryce Young, not just from a practical standpoint of whether he can actually get in there, but from a long-term standpoint, thinking of the whole season, to seeing how healthy he needs to be over the rest of the season compared to what he might be deteriorating if he plays against Tennessee. So I'm not sure that he's going to play.
Do you agree with me, Trevor Matich, that if Jalen Milroe plays quarterback for Alabama this week, that they have no chance to beat Tennessee on Saturday?
Tennessee would have to beat Tennessee, yes. So I would say that if Alabama plays Jalen Milroe, the odds go way down. But but Alabama still has this advantage. Their running game still is really strong with Jalen Milroe in there. He's a fantastic running quarterback. The problem is that he is very one-dimensional right now. He's got a couple of very nice pass highlights, but the body of his passing this year so far has been inconsistent with more bad plays than good plays, far more bad plays. And I think that because when you're one-dimensional and you're trying to make your living running on the road in a place like Neyland Stadium where the offensive line won't be able to hear the snap count and fire off the ball like they normally would, you need to be able to throw the ball and back off the defense. And I would be surprised if Alabama's backup quarterback, Jalen Milroe, is able to do that with any consistency with this receiver group. So, yeah, it diminishes their capability. But we also have to remember that Tennessee's defense is not a rock. And if Milroe gets rolling on the ground and then hits a couple of play-action passes, and they essentially play it like Georgia Tech used to do it, where we were only going to pass it 4 times a game, but those 4 passes are going to be for, 170 yards, then that would be their chance. But ultimately, I think that the quarterback position for Alabama is what everybody needs to watch. If it's Milroe, then can he occasionally hit one over the top? If it is Young, can he consistently drive the ball? And that's going to be where I think the game is going to be won and lost for either team.
Trevor Matich is with us, ESPN college football analyst. Coming up next, the one X factor in this Tennessee-Alabama game, and it's not a player. We'll get Trevor's thoughts on it because I think this could be where the game is decided. We'll do that next. Right here, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Play ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5, Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From Fox 17 News, this is a Code Red weather alert.
A small severe weather threat will exist late Wednesday afternoon and into the evening hours. Damaging wind and a spin-up tornado possible. Highs will reach the mid-80s for the afternoon with breezy winds. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at xanderinsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra. Results vary.
Come out Saturday, October 15th to support Stars by running, walking, or boogieing. The Nashville Striders 22nd Annual Shelby Bottoms Boogie 15K and 5K Run Walk, or you can show your support and participate virtually. More information at starsnashville.org.
At CDW, we get to be productive. It helps to avoid interruptions. I hate those. Oh, please continue. Well, with an Acer Chromebook Enterprise device, you great machines. Yes, and they're even better when they're pre-configured by CDW experts to support uninterrupted productivity wherever your workforce goes with 4G LTE? Nice. And a battery that lasts 14 hours. Yep, great. Oh, sorry, you were saying? IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/Acer.
Chase McCabe.
The best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter.
Willie Donick.
Trying to move down the field for the winning field goal.
And Derek Mason.
I'm putting in my hours, and I'm out of here.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
I think it's fairly obvious that there's a lot of things that, we need to work on, evaluate personnel, evaluate consistency and performance, evaluate, priority of getting your job done the right way. So that we can have a little more consistency, in our performance. We didn't take advantage of opportunities when we had them, in the last game, and that's certainly something that's going to catch up with you. Players have to understand you got to do things to keep from losing before you can think about winning, which is, turning the ball over, making mental errors, not reading things correctly so that we can execute plays the way they're designed, and that's something that we, as a whole, as an organization, need to do a better job of working together with the players and the coaches so that we can do a better job of getting that right.
There you go. That was Nick Saban, who was talking about basically we need to hit the reset button. And we all saw the Alabama A&M game on Saturday. It actually got higher local television ratings than the Tennessee LSU game, just saying. And so Caroline in her orbit has Vol fans that tell her they are not intimidated by Nick Saban and what his ability to do with this Alabama team could mean on Saturday's game. Fair?
Fair.
Okay, Trevor Matich is with us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Trevor, you and I have both seen when Alabama loses a game and Nick Saban gets Alabama to refocus. And that cut right there, which was the start of his press conference, to me was Nick Saban saying, we have to refocus after the A&M almost loss. But it wasn't a loss. How much of an X factor is Nick Saban and his ability either to motivate or strategize? How much of an X factor is Nick Saban going into Saturday's game?
Hell hath no fury like a Nick Saban team that feels disrespected. And they have been hearing the opposite of rat poison recently because of how they struggled against Texas A&M, about how they struggled against other teams this year. I mean, this is an Alabama team. I mean, Texas almost beat them, for goodness sake. And it's an Alabama team that has shown plenty of things that they've got to work on. So rather than get rat poison, what they've been given is, what's wrong with Alabama? And the team would feel disrespected. And Nick Saban has the perfect world, doesn't he? Because he can coach a team that almost lost. I mean, literally almost lost. They were 2 yards away from losing that game at the end to Texas A&M. Texas A&M was throwing for the game-winning touchdown with 3 seconds to go, and they didn't get it. So Bama won. But now those guys will be humbled and chastened a little bit. And the challenge for Saban always with his team is not talent usually. It's with egos. I mean, he brings in all these 5-star unguided missiles, 19 years old, and has to somehow get them to understand that what they did in high school won't cut it at this level, and get them to work. And sometimes they need a little extra kick in the pants in order to stay focused. And so I think this is good for Saban. And you're right, this is better for Saban in terms of the next game, Tennessee now, than it would have been had Alabama blown out Texas A&M. And keep this in mind, too, that when Saban communicates in these press conferences, he's not talking to the reporters. He's talking to his own players. He's talking to the boosters. He's talking to recruits and the recruits' parents. And so the players right now are looking at him, listening to what he's saying to the media, and they're going, uh-oh, we had better refocus because we're not all good with the coach right now.
Trevor, I was watching the game on Saturday and Sunday. I told my dad when we were watching the Titans game, I go, look, if Alabama plays as poorly as they played against Texas A&M, they will lose on Saturday at Neyland Stadium. They will get embarrassed on Saturday at Neyland Stadium. And yet we saw Alabama go right down to the wire with Texas. And at times I didn't think when Quinn Ewers was in that game that Alabama's DBs could cover Texas's receivers. I mean, is there a chance that Alabama just isn't that good?
Well, if you look at Alabama, well, first of all, you have to give them credit. Just like you have to give credit to Georgia coming back and beating Missouri on an ugly day for the Bulldogs. You got to give Bama credit for winning that ugly game against Texas A&M, for winning that close call against Texas. Because if you don't have your A game, and in the case of Texas A&M, if your starting quarterback is not doing it for you because he's not there, you have to win in other ways. And Alabama found a way to do it, and good teams do that. At the same time, is Alabama not that good? Let me tell you where they're not that good. They're not that good in terms of pass catchers by everybody not named Jahmyr Gibbs, their running back transfer from Georgia Tech. He is their best receiver, and it's not even remotely close. He's also their best runner, and it's not even remotely close. But when it comes to the receivers, they are still a work in progress. And when you look at for most of last year, when they had John Mechie and Jamison Williams at receiver for Alabama, two guys that together were uncoverable. You couldn't cover both of them. You just couldn't ever do it. And then you go to this one where you can cover everybody and stack the line. That's a problem. On the defensive side of the ball, they are statistically a whole lot better than they appear to be. I mean, it seems like they give up a lot of big plays on defense, pass plays, and they kind of do, but at the same time, overall, they tend to clamp down. They don't give up too many of them. We're about to find out because they're about to face the very best passing attack that they will have faced this year, and it's not close, because Texas did have their quarterback, Quinn Ewers, go out early in the game. Had he stayed there, Alabama, I believe, loses that game. But now this secondary, which statistically is real good, needs to show that they actually are real good, because Tennessee's got stuff they can do to these guys that nobody else that they face so far can actually do.
Trevor, Hendon Hooker fits in where on the list as far as college quarterback play is concerned with Caleb Williams, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and I think that's probably, the best four quarterbacks in the country? Am I forgetting somebody?
You got C.J. Stroud. Well, Drake May out at North Carolina. Dorian Thompson-Robinson at UCLA. I would continue. There's a lot of quarterbacks that are kind of under the radar right now that are playing exceptionally well. But you're right about Hendon Hooker. The thing about him is that, we see the stats. We see him on tape. He's completing 70% of his passes, for goodness sake. And that's not throwing the ball at or near the line, which is why most quarterbacks who complete that high a percentage are so perceived accurate. He's throwing the ball deep down the field, and he's still completing 70%. He's the runner. We all know that. What makes him elite in that level, and I do think Hendon Hooker is playing at an elite level in the same tier with those other guys. I think C.J. Stroud and some of the other guys are probably higher in the tier than Hooker is. But it's Hooker's command. It's his understanding of the needs of the moment, and then being calm and applying his resources personally and with the team around him to be able to meet the needs of the moment. And that's an NFL mindset that he's putting into that game. And then you add to that the real X factor for the Tennessee offense in this game, and that's their tempo. I mean, they're one of the fastest, if not the fastest, play-running teams in college football in terms of run this play, then get up there and run the next play, then run the next one really fast. And that was a problem last year when Tennessee played Alabama. I've got a breakdown tape for SportsCenter that we actually made last year. We're going to repurpose a couple of things with it and add some new plays to it, where Tennessee ran a play last year against Alabama, just an ordinary play. And then Tennessee ran up to the line and snapped the ball 12 seconds later. 12 seconds later. The Alabama defense was trying to get their call in to get lined up right. And when that 12 seconds later snap happened, the defender over the wide receiver outright to the right side, the Alabama defender, was standing in a position where he was in press man coverage. But he was turned around looking the opposite direction. His back was to the receiver as he was looking back to try to get the play call, and the ball was snapped. And that receiver went down the field and caught a touchdown pass. I think it was a touchdown. It was a long play. And that tempo is the X factor, because Alabama did not handle it well last year. And this year's Tennessee offense is better in terms of their skill and in terms of their familiarity and rhythm of running that tempo offense.
Trevor, last one for you. Trevor Mattich, our guest, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. I'm putting you on the hot seat. Who wins and why on Saturday?
Tennessee wins because Hendon Hooker goes off. You know, and I hadn't really thought about that until right now. But I just think that the quarterback position for Alabama is going to be a bit of a problem. And even though the Tennessee defense is not good, not good. Tennessee's defense is not up to stopping a full-strength Alabama offense, not even remotely close. And this is the best defense Tennessee will have faced, and that's not even close. But I think that Tennessee can get on a roll in this game, and if they do, it's going to be a long day for the Tide.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Trevor Maddich is picking Tennessee over Alabama on Saturday.
To win outright, not even with the points. What did I just do?
Trevor, I don't know.
Normally I don't pick this until Friday, but
Trevor Maddich, as always, presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters, and by Twin Peaks 29-degree drafts, wall-to-wall sports. Trevor, great stuff. Appreciate you, bud.
Thanks, Jared.
Okay. What do we make of that? Trevor Maddich is picking the Vols. I am stunned. And I don't know why I'm stunned, but I am stunned. So we will get to that next. And I did have a whole topic I wanted to get into that was kind of on par with this, but we're pushing that down. Trevor Maddich is picking the Vols to win on Saturday. I didn't even know Trevor was going to make a pick. I knew I was putting him on the hot seat. I knew I was doing it with the last question. I didn't know he was going to Herb Street me, where, Kirk doesn't pick the game. If he's calling it, Kirk doesn't, I didn't know if Trevor was going to be like, I can't because ESPN Radio College Game Day. I got to make my pick there. I didn't know what Trevor was going to say. He picked the Vols.
Bold.
What do we make of it? 615-737-1025, Stillman & Company, 102.5-106 through the game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
There's no place like the #1 sports bar to finish out baseball season. Which team are you batting for? Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Made from scratch food, signature 29-degree draft beers, and all the scenic views.
Hey, it's Jared. If you're listening to us on I-24 towards Murfreesboro or I-65 towards Spring Hill, make sure you check out 106.3 for another great way to hear Nashville's best sports talk.
Root for safeties this season with your friends at Superbook Sports. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. If you bet with Superbook this football season, they will give you a $50 bonus if a safety is scored on a Sunday. From a punter running out of the end zone to the plain old quarterback sack worth 2 points, root for chaos and win money with Superbook this fall. Download the Superbook Tennessee app right now and start rooting for two with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Hutton. Guys, do you need an annual health exam? I recommend going to Low T Center to get your complete health assessment. They will check all of your levels, not just your T level. In most cases, it's completely covered by your health insurance. And if you don't have insurance, it's less than $100 for a full lab panel and an office visit with their medical provider to give you a complete health assessment. Low T Center specializes in men's health, making it quick and easy, even verifying your insurance. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Are you getting hit hard with higher costs and higher interest rates? Is your credit card rate going up every month? Hey, Willie Donick, how'd you like to wipe out those credit cards before the holidays? Call Loan Pronto. Your home equity can rescue you right now. Your home's value is still way up, and there's a ton of cash that you can get. Loan Pronto specializes in zero-cost cash-out home refis. Get tens of thousands in as little as 2 weeks. Pay off credit cards and consolidate everything into one super low payment. People who do this usually cut around $800 from their monthly budget. And even if your home mortgage rate goes up a little bit, it's offset by your credit card rate going to zero. When rates come back down, Loan Pronto will refinance you again for free. Call Loan Pronto. Do it now. You can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Chase Elliott scores the win in the Ally 400 at the Nashville Superspeedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3. Terang, it's a high fly ball. We got pass rushes. Awesome game.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury. He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry, live from the Hillside Medical Game Studios. So Trevor Maddich picked the Vols. I put him on the hot seat. I said, Trevor, I'm putting you on the hot seat. Who wins and why on Saturday? Tennessee, Alabama. The game is going to get a massive television rating on Saturday here in Nashville. And I said to Trevor, I go, who wins and why? Now, I do think this is a competitive game. I do. You know, I never bought the Butch Jones 5-0 in 2016. I never bought that for a second. And then when it all fell apart and they lost to South Carolina and they lost to Vandy, I, celebrated that. I told you also. But this Tennessee team is legit. And I've said that from the jump. I picked them to go 10-2 to start the season. Now, when Trevor said he was picking Tennessee because he thinks Hendon Hooker is going to go off on Saturday against Alabama. When I heard somebody of the ilk of Trevor Maddich, who is one of the top guys at ESPN, and he picked Tennessee, I thought to myself, oh, wow, this might be real. Like, this Tennessee-Alabama game, like, this might be real. Like, people might
Did you not think it was real?
I mean, I did. I think it's more real than all the other Tennessee-Alabama games have been lately.
For sure.
But the Vegas spread comes out at 8 points, and I see Saban, basically saying that, we're going to have to, reassess how we do everything around here. And I'm like, I've seen Nick Saban do that. And then I've seen him go to Georgia where they think, oh, yeah, Georgia's going to beat Alabama, and Georgia beats them 38-10 and embarrasses them on TV. It's one thing to beat Florida. It's another thing to beat LSU at LSU. But that's not beating Alabama. Beating Alabama, especially for Tennessee. There is not a school in the world, maybe Texas A&M, but they beat Tennessee or beat Alabama last year. There's not a school in the world, in my opinion, that wants to beat Alabama more than Tennessee does. And so, I expect it to be a good game. I'm excited for the game. I think Tennessee can win. Now, I'm not making my official prediction until Friday, so I don't know one way or another who's going to win. But just when Trevor said it, I was kind of like, oh, wow, people are actually going to pick Tennessee. Like when they get up there for College game day, and the guest picker will probably be some, Kenny Chesney who will pick Tennessee. But then after that, I guess maybe David Pollock and Desmond Howard, and hopefully Coach Corso's there. And Coach Corso and Kurt, they might pick Tennessee too. There might be, I guess I was stunned at the idea that we're going to pick Tennessee, who hasn't beaten Alabama since Nick Saban arrived, who hasn't beaten Alabama, period, since I was in high school. We're going to pick Tennessee to beat the Alabama Crimson Tide with Nick freaking Saban as their head coach.
This is a much better Tennessee team than ever since Nick Saban got to Alabama. And you could even argue that this is...
I want to say Saban's first year Tennessee played in the SEC championship game.
Okay, well then this is the best Tennessee team in a very long time. And I also think that this is an Alabama team that, especially if Bryce Young doesn't play, it's an Alabama team that has proven it has its flaws.
I think Bryce Young's playing.
More so than a lot of Alabama teams of the past. When you think of Alabama teams of the past, they dominate every single game. They don't make mistakes. Their receivers don't drop the ball. And they've been doing that this year. That doesn't mean that they're a bad team by any means. They're still one of the top 3 teams in the nation. It's still a Nick Saban coach team. I think that this is an Alabama team that is maybe a step back than what we're used to. And this is a Tennessee team that is leaps and bounds ahead of what we're used to.
In 2007, Tennessee played Alabama. Tennessee was ranked 20th, and Alabama was unranked. And Tennessee ended up 10-4 that year, and this was kind of like the last good Philip Fulmer season. Then 2008, he got fired.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know what the score of the Tennessee-Alabama game was? Alabama ended up, I believe, 6-7 that year. They lost to Louisiana Monroe.
Uh-huh. I do remember that.
Do you know what the final score of the Tennessee-Alabama game was?
No.
41-17 Alabama.
Oof.
I mean, that was a good Tennessee team.
And that was an Alabama team that
Was not
lost
very
to
good.
Louisiana Monroe.
That was not a very good Alabama team.
Oof. I did see a tweet today that was like the last time that Tennessee beat Alabama, you couldn't send an iMessage.
I mean,
And Blockbuster was open.
Guys, like, I mean, the idea
But
of
things
being
change. There's not a team that's going to beat another team every single year.
the idea of Tennessee being competitive with Alabama, I think is totally fair.
For sure. That is on the table.
I think Tennessee has accomplished that, and I give Tennessee credit for that. But picking Tennessee to beat Alabama?
You think it feels icky?
I mean, I'm almost in shock that Trevor picked that, and I don't know why. Were you shocked that Trevor picked Tennessee on Saturday?
I was. Yeah, I was. But he's drinking the orange Kool-Aid.
But the institutional people know not to pick against Nick Saban. They never pick against Nick Saban.
I mean, Nick Saban's beatable.
Ian,
Texas A&M last year was not a good team.
Yeah, but that was a rat poison game. Alabama's not getting rat poison.
It doesn't mean that Alabama is some unbeatable force, especially against good teams. They can lose to bad teams,
Alabama
too.
is not getting rat poisoned. Like, they may get beat fair and square by Tennessee.
This is not a rat poison game.
But they are not getting rat poisoned.
If it's a rat poison game for anyone, it's for Tennessee.
If Alabama does not take Tennessee seriously and loses the game because of rat poison.
Oh, I don't think they're not going to
then
take Tennessee seriously.
I will be forever disappointed in Nick Saban. Now, I'll have a hard time expressing that because I consider Nick a friend. But
You can
I
critique
will
your
be disappointed in Nick Saban if Alabama doesn't show up ready to play. Ian, were you shocked by Trevor picking Tennessee on Saturday to beat Alabama?
I don't know. Part of me feels like even Trevor was a little shocked himself.
I felt that way too.
I think he said it, and then he was like, wait, no, I don't like it.
And Trevor was like, I have not even thought about who I would pick until just now. And he picked Tennessee. I mean, I am flummoxed. I am shocked.
It does sound like
but I'm not that shocked.
Trevor was a little bit concerned about Bryce Young, whether he plays or not.
So I'm
even
not.
if he does play.
Maybe I should be. Nick Saban was asked about Bryce Young yesterday. Maybe I should be concerned about it. But for some reason, Saban's answer made me think that Bryce Young's going to play on Saturday. This is what Saban said when he was asked about Bryce Young's injury.
What's the latest on Bryce Young's status?
Bryce is getting reevaluated today. I don't really know much. I hadn't talked to Doc, since he did that. Hopefully we're going to try to get him ready to play this week. But this is something that, nobody can predict, how quickly this is going to give him an opportunity to be able to go out and do what he needs to do. And, we'll see as the week progresses. But I don't have an update much more than that.
I mean, I think he's going to play. Like, I think that Saban knows he's going to play. And I don't know why, because Saban basically said, I have no update. But for some reason, that cut, I'm like, I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play.
And I think they do. I think that it will be at the point where it could be a 50-50. And if they were playing Mercer, he probably wouldn't play. But they understand that playing Bryce Young gives them the best opportunity to win, and he'll play.
It's a sprained AC joint. He'll play. He'll play.
I mean, I am not an orthopedic surgeon. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the timeline is for that, but
he'll be fine.
Does anybody even know what the injury is?
Yeah, I think it's a sprained AC joint.
Okay.
He'll play.
I'm sure he will.
I don't know, man. I guess I'm just kind of shocked that people are actually going to pick Tennessee to win.
Why are you so shocked? Weren't you the one who just said it should be Tennessee -2?
If I was making the line, I think I would pick it as an even pick 'em, or if I was going to have to pick a team, because it's easy to say pick 'em, like that's kind of a cop out.
Uh-huh.
But if they were like, no, like seriously, we want you to pick a line, I think I would pick Tennessee -2. But it's still hard for me to pick Tennessee to beat Alabama. I mean, it's like Tennessee's been a feel-good story around here because it's been a long time since Tennessee's ever been interesting. Yeah. And so for them to be good, and not like the interesting of, oh, wow, Butch Jones has a human carrying a trash can on the sidelines, but more so the interesting of, man, they're freaking good. They got a good quarterback. They're respectable. They can go in there and kick an SEC team in the face like they did LSU. Like, that's good for Tennessee.
I'm ready to get past that.
I am excited for Tennessee fans to finally have something that they can cheer for and be excited about. But then, like, the predicting them to beat Alabama, that's a whole different discussion for me. So, I don't know. I am stunned by it. I am stunned by Trevor. I can't believe Trevor did it. He's actually picking Tennessee.
I do wonder how he feels about that right now.
Like the fact that he picked it, and now do you think he's sitting by the phone thinking I shouldn't have done that?
He's probably thinking, do I mean that? Do I really feel that way? Do I think Tennessee's going to win?
Like, do we think, like, the volunteer Bobo media thinks Tennessee's going to win?
Yes.
Like Joe Rexroad?
I guess we'll have to ask Joe.
Joe Rex Bo when it comes to Tennessee football. I mean, he and Robbie, they can't wait to talk about Tennessee. They're like, oh, God, we hate the fact
I talked
that
with them this morning about Tennessee. Joe asked me, do you really think that Tennessee can beat Alabama?
What'd you
And
say?
I said, it's a possibility, yeah. And I said it would depend on Bryce Young, and it depends on the mental aspect going into this game on both sides. Alabama's been there before. This Tennessee team hasn't. So that's another big part of it. And I said, yeah, I think that they could. Am I going to pick them? Probably not. But I think that they could.
And then Joe and Robbie both lost their minds. Like, oh, my God, yes!
Joe said, oh, but you're not counting it out. Yes. I said, no, I'm not counting it out because Tennessee's a good team. Alabama's a good team.
Joe and Robbie are mad that there was a Titan game on Sunday so that they couldn't devote all 4 hours to talking about how great Tennessee is in the morning show.
No, be nice to them.
That's nice.
No, it's not nice.
It's not nice?
It is not nice.
Is it not nice?
It's not nice.
615-737-1025. We're to your phones on this next. Trevor is picking Tennessee to beat Alabama. And for some reason, I can't believe it. Plus, one thing I have said for years around here, and I actually mean it, and I'm excited about it. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Let's put the green flag in the air and turn them loose.
Nashville's home for NASCAR.
He's going to try to make a big move here.
It's brought to you by the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. We are your racing station.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer Paul.
When he first started, he got a half carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for a carat and a half. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Life stresses can take a toll on your mind, body, and spirit, but there are simple, enjoyable remedies that may help aid these, and they can be delivered right to your doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexroad here. So excited to be talking to you about the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis, OrderGreen.com. Their wide selection of THC and CBD products will ensure you find a fit for your needs with discreet, same-day shipping nationwide. For me, for inflammation, for stress relief, it's a tremendous product. That's right, THC, CBD, right to your doorstep. Use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
We're especially proud of our work family at Cromwell Media, who owns this station. This month, we're saluting Janice Russell and Dorothy Black in our corporate office for 32 and 28 years of service. Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are toasting to 2 years as hosts of our morning show on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. And promotions assistant Gates Gaines is celebrating his first anniversary. Whether it's 3 decades or 1 year, we love what we do, making a difference every day. If you'd like to join us, send an email to together@cromwellmedia.com. That's together@cromwellmedia.com.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm putting you on the hot seat. Who wins and why on Saturday?
Tennessee wins because Hendon Hooker goes off. You know, and I hadn't really thought about that until right now. But I just think that the quarterback position for Alabama is going to be a bit of a problem. And even though the Tennessee defense is not good, not good. Tennessee's defense is not up to stopping a full-strength Alabama offense, not even remotely close. And this is the best defense Tennessee will have faced, and that's not even close. But I think that Tennessee can get on a roll in this game, and if they do, it's going to be a long day for the Tide.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Trevor Maddich is picking Tennessee over Alabama on Saturday.
To win outright, not even with the points. What did I just do?
Trevor, I don't know.
Normally I don't pick this until Friday, but
Trevor Maddich just picked Tennessee to win outright. Tennessee is a 7.5-point dog at home on Saturday against Alabama. Do you have a thought, or do you want to go to the phones?
To the phones.
Phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Apparently somebody texted into the text line and said that Trevor is providing Nick Saban with rat poison.
With anti-rat poison.
Anti-rat poison.
Yeah, Nate texts in and says Saban just called Trevor to thank him after one of Saban's minions just told Trevor who picked on your show.
Dude, I tell you, rat poison will worry me if I'm Josh Heupel. It would not worry me if I'm Nick Saban.
It's like rat food.
Or as he said last year after the SEC championship game when everybody picked Georgia, yummy rat poison.
Yummy rat poison.
Whatever you want to make of that.
This is great. Saban's loving this, I think. And I think he's playing into it. Like, I'm sure he's telling his players,
no one's picking you.
They don't think that you're good enough to beat this team. This team that we have dominated the past 20 years, they don't think you're good enough this year.
Bob is up next on Trevor's pick. Thank you for calling the program. What you got, Bobby?
Jared, I want to go to the same steakhouse that you're obviously taking Trevor Maddich to get him to pick out Tennessee to beat Alabama when all they've done, they beat Pittsburgh, mediocre. Florida and LSU, it's not like they're great. They just fired their coaches last year for getting beat by Kentucky. And the Tennessee pass defense is terrible. So I think Tennessee's improved, but when you start picking them to beat Alabama and Georgia, we're going a little bit overboard. They're not ready for that yet.
So, Bob, I do, for the most part, agree with everything that you just said. And I appreciate your call, and that was a good call. I will say this. The idea of whether or not Tennessee can beat Alabama, I don't know. They have they have passed every test so far. Now let's see if they can play with the big boys. Like, that's why I agree. I mean, I think I agree with the logic of oh yeah, baby, we are back. We proved it by beating LSU. No. Let's see if you can hang with Alabama. Let's see.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can.
To be completely honest, I love LSU. I do. This is not LSU.
It ain't LSU.
No.
it ain't. Alabama is not going to fumble the opening kickoff. Like, it's not going to happen.
God.
Adam is in Portland. He's up next, 615-737-1025. What you got, Adam?
I just feel like y'all are looking at it the wrong way. It's not about Tennessee as much as it's about Alabama to me. I feel like they almost got beat by Texas A&M, who got beat by App State. Texas A&M is not very good, and I know that's without Bryce Young, but Bryce Young was perfectly healthy and able, and they almost got beat by Texas, who's not that good, by a third-string quarterback for Texas. So I'm not as impressed with Alabama. I know y'all love Saban, Jared. He's your god. I know you love him. You always have. You talk good about him. You talk crazy about Nashville loving the Vols. The Vols are officially back. And so I think the Vols have a good shot.
Whoa.
You've done it for years.
The Vols are officially back?
I know that's all you'll focus on, but you used to say, you're like, I think people care more about Vanderbilt in Nashville than they do the Vols.
I never said that.
Never.
I never said that.
Nobody in the history of ever has said that.
Ask Ian, man. You absolutely said that. I think you might have even made a remark about the sounds one time. Just because you were so low on Tennessee football, that is absolutely 100% fact, Jared.
But also, to be fair, if he did say that, I think that a lot of people would agree at how bad Tennessee football was over the last 10 years. I think Vol fans were checked out. I for certain know that Vol fans were checked out.
I have one quick thing on Adam here before I want him to go, and that is, you think Tennessee football is back? Like they're officially back? Like it's, the Vols are back, period. Do you think that?
As a fan, hell yeah, man. I think I just think the programs are in. That coach right there has brought life into the program, so I say yes.
I don't disagree with that, but being back and the coach, appreciate call Adam. The being back to me is Tennessee's a national title contender. We'll see on Saturday. Are the Vols back? We'll see on Saturday. I don't know. And I'm not willing to go there yet.
Is it back to being a respectable team? Yeah.
Yeah, they're a respectable team.
For sure.
And the coach they got a good coach, and he's respectable.
They've got a great quarterback.
And they've got one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And but back is every Saturday matters, that, they are legit contenders. If Alabama goes in there and wins 41-16, then they're not back.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout like that. But
it might be.
I don't know.
It might not be. I don't know. Ian, back me up on this. I never said that more people care about Vanderbilt than Tennessee.
Yeah, I find that one hard to believe.
Here's how I felt about Tennessee. When I first got back in town, 2015, so that was 7 years ago. So almost 8 years ago. When I first got back in town, I was always trying to figure out what it was that would get the phones rocking. And talking about Tennessee football, because they had won their last 4 games in that second year under Butch Jones, and everybody thought that he was the second coming, that always got the phones rocking. The Titans were terrible. Kim Wisenhunt was the coach. The Titans were still more popular, but still, whatever. Then the Titans were the worst team in the NFL. The Vols were kind of interesting. It was fun. When I really felt like the interest in the Vols completely waned. But we've always been a Titans and Predators show. And all of the ratings data has told us that that's the right thing to do. But when I really felt like it was different was the Jeremy Pruitt coaching search had a different feel to it with the passion. Or I should say the Danny White, Josh Heupel thing compared to the Jeremy Pruitt, John Curry, Philip Fulmer, Greg Schiano, Mike Leach debacle. They were so different in terms of the passion that I felt between the two that I was like, has it really taken a back seat around here? Like, is it really just not the same? And I remember talking to the late Mark Howard about that when that was going on, and Mark was like, no. And I was like, you sure? He's like, no. The Vols are still so popular that, Mark can be. And so I was kind of like, I don't know. And then last year, I just found the Vols to be incredibly boring, and the Titans were incredibly juicy the entire season. And we really didn't talk a lot about the Vols. We really just kind of focused on the Titans. And everything was going positive for us. So, and the TV ratings for the Titans were soaring through the roof. And now Tennessee is absolutely interesting. Now, we can play the TV rating game all day we want because Alabama got higher TV ratings on Saturday than Tennessee did. Now, I don't think that means that Alabama is more popular in Nashville than Tennessee, because I understand the ratings and I understand why they were what they were. But that is, if I wanted to make the argument, I could. The Titans got a 24-10 Tennessee got a 10. Now, again, Tennessee played on cable. The Titans played on CBS. Now, I still don't think it's close between the two. But I don't think that like last week's 20 for the Titans and 10 for the Vols proves that there's double the amount of Titan fans than Vols fans. And I don't think Alabama getting a higher rating proves that Alabama's more popular. But I'm just saying that, you know, there's a lot of different elements into this or what. I never said that Vanderbilt was more popular. I never said that. Tennessee is popular to a certain extent. Their popularity, their hold on the market, in my opinion, has gone down as more people have moved here from other southern states in which they already like their own college team. I think the Vols are like the Dallas Cowboys of Nashville sports, which is that a lot of people just love them, and everything they do, you know, they can do no wrong, and their coach is the best coach and everything else, and when they lose their minds. And I think the people that are not Dallas Cowboy fans or are not Tennessee fans find that at times to be incredibly childish and immature. And I kind of enjoy that. But no, this idea that I said that Vanderbilt was more popular is ridiculous because I grew up a Vanderbilt fan and I never believed that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. And by the way, I do want to explain this TV rating data that came out to you all because everybody now thinks they're experts. And I know a lot of people don't know a lot about the TV rating data. And so it came out, Titans huge number, Vols not so much, Alabama bigger number. Why it was the way it was, what it actually means, we'll discuss that. Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, by the way, the Predators, their season is rocking and rolling. The home opener is upcoming on Thursday. We will be live at the Preds home opener on Thursday, which I think we're all very, very excited about. And we want to tell everybody, do not miss tomorrow night's Smashville Live, located at Brew House South in Cool Springs, with our guy Darren McFarland and Hal Gill, and now have special guests Dante Fabro and Michael McCarron at 6 o'clock. A limited amount of autographs or pictures will be available, so be sure to get there early. Smashville Live is brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling and Little Harpeth Beer.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Going to the front of the net, he scores. What a gorgeous move. Roman Yossi.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Looking for the next place to hold a business dinner or just a private room for you and your guests to enjoy? Then look no further than Bob's. We believe in top quality food and service without all the distractions. So join us and experience why we've been voted Diner's Choice on Open Table for 6 years running.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
The Electronic Express Columbus Day sale is here. Sail on into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Apple, Sony, Cuisinart, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. Computers, appliances, 4K TVs, smart home, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
I can walk again. I can cross my legs again. I can wear heels again.
After years of living with chronic joint pain, Andrea Southard is now living a normal life, pain-free, thanks to natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics.
We tried everything, and my husband had heard the commercial for QC Kinetics on the radio, and he told me to call him and check it out.
That phone call changed Andrea's life. QC Kinetics used powerful natural biologics to treat her aching joints. It's high-tech precision medicine that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue with no surgery and no drugs, providing lasting relief.
I felt like I was in my 20s again. I could tie my own shoes. Really the little things that you don't think about.
Pain in your hips, knees, back, shoulders? Get rid of the pain now. Call QC Kinetics.
615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024.
Wendy's new French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me. Did you just say Wendy's new French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
It is now clear the devastation that Hurricane Ian has delivered to Puerto Rico, Florida, and parts of our East Coast. Volunteers and organizations from our hometown are helping. The need really is for money to help those hardest hit. If you can, Cromwell Media encourages us all to donate to your favorite service organization. If you don't have one, choose redcross.org. America always helps around the world. Now is a time to help our neighbors here at home.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of Chase Willie and D-Mace, it's almost time for the Preds home opener. We'll talk to Chris Mason at 11. Plus, things around the NFL and the Titans with Jonathan Hutton of Outkick 360 at noon. Party begins at 10, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
We're going to play a really good Tennessee team. This game means a lot to a lot of people in Alabama. It's kind of a rivalry game, and it's always been an important game for us. Tennessee's got an outstanding team. They're undefeated. Josh has done a really, really good job there. Probably one of the most explosive offenses, if not the most explosive offense, in the country. They've got really good wide receivers. 4 guys have lots of production. They've got 2 really good running backs, lots of production. The quarterback, Hooker, has really done a nice job of executing their offense. He's one of the leading pass efficiency guys in the country, as well as has the ability to extend plays and make plays with his feet. He's a very good athlete all the way around, and has had an outstanding year. Their defense is, one of the top defensive teams, especially in terms of creating negative plays and making people difficult for them to score. 17 points a game is, really good and one of the tops in the SEC. And they're always really solid with their specialists and on special teams. So this is a really, really good team, a real challenge for us. And our priority has to be, we got to get it right ourselves, and, so that we do a better job of putting ourselves in positions of having a chance to be successful. And when we do that, we got to take advantage of it.
There you go. That's Nick Saban talking about the Tennessee game. So I do want to touch on this. Steve Lehman, News Channel 5, good man. Steve Lehman tweeted out the TV ratings over the weekend, and I was fascinated by this. I, by the way, sent somebody a text. I predicted the Titans were going to get a 22. The Vols were going to get a 9. The Titans got a 20. The Vols got a 10.
Not far off.
So according to Steve Lehman, the Titans' win over Washington got a 20.4 TV rating for the local Nashville market. Now, I know how these TV ratings work. So that equates to, the 20.4 rating equates to 247,000 viewers in the Nashville area. So almost 250,000 people watch the Titans game. Last year, 239,000 were the average for a game. So that's a good number for the Titans. The Vols only did half that at a 10. Now, I know people have cherry-picked stats lately and have said, oh, look, this Vols game against Florida did a higher number than the Titans game last week on Monday Night Football did, and so the Vols are closing the gap between the Titans. And then I could take this cherry-pick stat and say that the Vols got a 10 and the Titans got a 20.4 and say that, nope, see, the gap is even, there's double the amount of fans. By the way, Alabama and A&M got a 13.1. So is Alabama more popular in Nashville than the Vols? Is it? But I know how this works. So here's why this was the way it was. Just like for people that looked at the Bills game and decided to take the ESPN-only rating, even though the game was also over the air on Fox 17, take the ESPN-only rating and say, hey, the Vols on CBS against Florida in a game that went right down to the wire in a prime viewing area, ended up getting almost equal the amount of viewers as the Titans' Monday night game against the Bills, which was a blowout, and the quarterback was pulled before the beginning of the fourth quarter late at night on a Monday. That's not the same thing. Just like looking at this Tennessee game, which was only on cable in a non-prime viewing window, which 11 a.m. on Saturday is not a prime viewing window, and it was a blowout where the game was over by the fourth quarter, only gets half the rating of a Titans game. It's not an accurate representation as to how many people truly care about Tennessee. And the reason why Alabama got such a good local TV rating is because, number one, the SEC game of the week is always going to get a huge rating in Nashville. Every SEC game of the week, the 3:30 CBS game is always going to get a good rating if it is a semi-compelling matchup. So when Alabama plays Georgia for the SEC championship, that game's going to get a huge rating because Nashville cares about it. And so Alabama played A&M in a prime window, which was not just the SEC game of the week slot, but it was the Saturday night slot. They played in a prime window at a game that literally went down to the final play. And it was on broadcast television, not cable. There's not more Alabama fans than there are Tennessee fans. Also, just regular football fans have interest in a game that goes right down to the wire and has such big stakes like the Alabama A&M game did. And again, it was on broadcast television in a super prime viewing window. So no, the Vols, Joe Rexrode's preposterous take from 2 weeks ago that the Vols are more popular than the Titans in Nashville is beyond ridiculous because they're not. Because a regular Titans game, which is what Sunday was, a regular game, just like the Giants game was a regular game, and that game was had more viewers than all but 3 games from the season before it. And no Tennessee game has even touched the Giants TV rating or the Washington TV rating or these other ones. The Vols are not anywhere near as popular as the Titans in Nashville. It's not close. The idea that it is preposterous, but it's also not double as the TV ratings would indicate from this past week alone. But I can cherry pick whatever stats I'd like. I'm just telling you that these things average out over time, and the average is telling me the Titans are significantly more popular than the Vols, but that the Vols are, climbing with their interest level. Now, let me say this. This Saturday's game, prime viewing window on CBS, huge, even if it wasn't Tennessee, a local team, if it was, if Mississippi State was the 6th best team and Alabama was number 2.
It's 3 versus 6.
Right. Alabama's 3 now? Okay.
3.
So, that would get a huge rating in Nashville no matter what. I mean, you're talking about an 8-9 share right off the bat, maybe even more than that. This is going to get a Titan game-like rating. I am convinced Alabama-Tennessee is going to get at least a 20. I mean, I'd be stunned, unless it's a total blowout, if it doesn't get a 20. I would expect it to get, I'd say like the average Titan, and I don't have it in front of me for this season, and the ratings changed in the middle of last season, the way that they do the rating system. The average Titan rating, in my opinion, is probably like a 21 or a 22. Maybe it's a little bit lower with the way they've changed it. I would expect this game to get a 20.
And what is it like, let's say, a national title game or a playoff game?
In Nashville?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Collegiate. I would say that's probably 15 to
20.
20.
I don't know. It's definitely not 20.
It's not?
No. No.
The national championship?
No. No, in Nashville? No. I mean, we're talking, this is the thing people have to understand. You may not love the Titans, or people may think that the Titans have bad fans, or that the Titan fans aren't as rabid across the country as other fan bases are. But there is absolutely nothing that is more popular on television in Nashville, Tennessee than the Tennessee Titans. There is nothing. Nothing approaches it. I would love to see, head up, a random Titans game against the Chicago Bears with a Joe Biden, Donald Trump debate. And I still think the Titans game probably blew it to smithereens. There is nothing that is more popular in Nashville, Tennessee than a Titan game. I can guarantee you that the people at Fox 17, when the schedule comes out and they put these random games on Fox, the random, it's Titans and Raiders, they're on Fox this week, that they're like, woohoo! All right, let's sell them ads. You know what I mean? Because
it's the NFL. It's one of the largest corporations in the world.
Right, but when they're showing the Buccaneers versus the Falcons and it gets a 1.7 rating like it did on Sunday, as opposed to a 20 share, they much rather have the 20 share.
Oh,
and so
yes.
again, they're selling ads for the NFL, and I don't know how Fox 17 sells their ads. They're selling ads for the NFL. But it's and they've got, the big game every week, the Cowboys or the Packers or, the America's game of the week. They have that every week, and I'm sure that gets good numbers. But it doesn't get 20s. I mean, the Titan game just blows everything out of the water because the Titans are the most popular. That's just how it is. What do we have on the phone? 615-737-1025 phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
One texter checks in and says, I've heard the Vols are back 500 times this week. This is a delusional fan base.
Yeah, I mean, I know Trevor picked Tennessee, and I will make my official prediction on Friday. And I am excited about this game, and I think there's a chance Tennessee can win. I do. He gets blown. Line at 7.5 pretty much tell you that.
Yes, but also Vegas has been wrong.
No. I'm not saying Vegas is always right or even,
Vegas is more right than it is wrong.
This is what I think is the play here. I believe, and this is just something my dad told me, and I don't know, my dad is not a big sports bettor really at all. And so I don't know what his knowledge is, but I've just heard this my whole life. He would tell me that Tennessee being an underdog by 7.5 points is a screw you number. And what he means by that is that they're making the line so big that you think, well, I have to take Tennessee because the line is 7.5 and it's 6 versus 3 and it's at Neyland Stadium.
And any fan might look and say, okay, if I can get 8 points with Tennessee, I'll take that.
Let me take them. And the reality is they're expecting Tennessee to get blown out. So everybody puts their money on Tennessee because the number's so big. And then Alabama blows them out and Vegas makes a fortune off of it. That's what he would say. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's what he would say. I'm talking about my dad as if he were dead. He's not. He's alive.
But he would say that.
He would say that.
Another texter texts in and says, I need to know how Tennessee will beat Alabama. I don't think Tennessee can get enough stops on defense, but
I'm going to tell you exactly how Tennessee beats Alabama if they beat Alabama.
Okay.
See the first half of the Texas game?
Yes.
What did Texas do when Quinn Ewers was healthy? Threw the ball deep on every play. Texas looked at it and said, Xavier Howard is their big player?
Yeah.
They said the X-Man and the other receivers you can't cover. And so basically Quinn Ewers dropped back and threw it as far as he could on every play, and they couldn't cover him. And they were throwing holding penalties on Alabama on almost every play.
Holding penalties, DPI.
Old Kool-Aid out there for Alabama. He could not keep up with those guys. And so that's exactly what Tennessee's going to do. Is Tennessee's going to line up. I think Cedric Tillman's going to play, but they're going to line up Cedric Tillman, and they're going to line up Keaton, and they're going to line up Brew McCoy, and they're going to throw the ball as far as they can on every play. That's what they're going to do. Because there's no stopping that. That's like when I talk about, the Titans are trying to block 5 guys from Washington with 5 of their offensive linemen, and there's no way to do that because the Titan offensive linemen can't do that. What Texas realized, and I would assume that Steve Sarkisian probably had some pretty good knowledge going into that Alabama game.
Well, he knew Bryce Young better than anybody in the country.
Well, it's not Bryce Young because it was the offensive game plan. But he probably assumed that Alabama's DBs could not hang with Texas if Quinn Ewers threw the balls for far as he could. And so that's what Tennessee's going to do. Like that. Now, is it going to work? I don't know. But how does Tennessee? That's how. Is that they truly throw the ball as far as they can on every play, and they make Alabama's offense beat them. And Alabama's offense, so far hasn't been what I'm used to seeing out of Alabama. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, I'm picking the Vols to win this game. I don't think there's a team in this country that can beat Tennessee.
That's a hot take. I mean, you don't think Ohio State can beat Tennessee? Seriously? I mean, what I would love,
But I think we're going to learn a lot this weekend.
I mean, I don't think there's a team out there that can beat Tennessee. That is a hot take. That can. Not that will, but that can. There's not a team out there that can beat Tennessee.
There is a team out there that can beat Georgia, that can beat Ohio State, that can beat Alabama on any given Saturday.
I don't know if there is.
Beat Tennessee.
I don't know if there's a team out there that can beat Georgia if Georgia plays well.
If Georgia plays well, but they haven't been playing well.
But I do think there are teams out there that can beat Tennessee. I mean, I don't know if there's a team out there that can beat Georgia, but I know there are teams that can beat Tennessee. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Speaking of too far ahead of ourselves, boy, there was a doozy of a prediction. And it's a positive prediction, and I like positive predictions, but this one's too much for me. We'll get to that coming up next. FanDuel Sportsbook, that's my official sportsbook app. Be sure to start NFL Week 6 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. It does not matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay does not hit. NFL same-game parlays are a perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout. So we got Carson Wentz, more of him. This says, you can build it with over passing yards. I say build it with under passing yards for Carson Wentz and under passing yards for Justin Fields. Woof, what a game. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on a Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code JGM if you don't already have an account. If you do, just go right into FanDuel and see what you got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present, Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issue is non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic every Saturday morning at 9.
I've got my extra large coffee.
As she talks about the big stories of the week.
Predators news, the Tennessee Titans.
And looks ahead to the weekend.
Oh, I'm so excited.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From Fox 17 News, this is a code red weather alert.
A small severe weather threat will exist late Wednesday afternoon and into the evening hours. Damaging wind and a spin-up tornado possible. Highs will reach the mid-80s for the afternoon with breezy winds. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Nothing makes one feel better than the ability to give to someone in need. You have the power to give the most important gift of all, the gift of life, with a donation of your blood. Supplies are desperately low in our area, and your help is needed. Blood Assurance is a nonprofit community blood center that supplies our Middle Tennessee area hospitals. Please find it in your heart to donate. Be someone's hero today. Go to bloodassurance.org to find a location or blood drive near you. That's bloodassurance.org. Give blood, give local, save lives with Blood Assurance.
In a world where human interaction seems to be reduced to chats and clicks and emails, where transactions are measured only by speed, where corporate policies overrule common sense, sometimes you just want to go old school. Welcome to Genesis Diamonds, a refreshing experience where personal relationships and authentic interaction are the norm, not the exception. At Genesis, you're here celebrating something awesome in your life, and we want to know all about it. We want to hear your story, listen to your requests, and be a meaningful part of whatever occasion this is. A proposal, an anniversary, a birthday, graduation, push gift, sweet 16. If it's important to you, it's important to us. So we don't care how long it takes. We're not paid on commission, and we're not beholden to some corporate rule book. We just want to help you get what you want to make it into a special memory. So take a break from modern shopping and go old school with us at Genesis. Let's start a real relationship that you can count on for life. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Chase McCabe.
Competition in all positions.
Willie Donick.
You know what? I went on the radio and I tried.
And Derek Mason.
The man that sleeps on the floor never falls out to bed.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
1 second to go, and that's going to do it. The Predators have swept the NHL Global Series 2022, beating the Sharks here today 3-2 after taking a 4-1 win on opening day.
There you go. That was the Predators who have knocked out the Sharks in both games. Let me say this, the Sharks suck. So they're 2-0, but they are technically the number one team in the NHL, and the puck drops for the rest of the league tonight. And so ESPN at ESPN.com, they have their preseason awards that are picked by their experts. By the way, I did not know that ESPN employed 9,000 hockey writers, but apparently they do. And so literally 9,000 hockey writers.
Huh.
Or I guess hockey writers and analysts and all kinds. Anyone who does anything with hockey. I'm surprised I didn't get a vote in this. But anywho, so they went out there and they had the official ESPN predictions. And I was just scrolling through it, just seeing what they were saying. And they get the Central Division, right? And most everybody picks the Avalanche. In fact, they've got, 5, 6, 22, 28. 28 people, 22 of them picked the Colorado Avalanche to repeat as Central Division champions.
That feels like a pretty safe bet.
3 of the 28 picked the Wild. 2 of them picked the St. Louis Blues. And I see at the bottom, 1 picked the Nashville Predators. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this must be some bozo I've never heard of or, something ridiculous. So I look up there and I'm like, okay. Where does it say Predators here? Steve Levy. Steve Levy is picking the Predators to win the Central Division. Now, let me say this. I am excited for the start of the real regular season. I know they play the 2 games in Prague. That's great. But they play at home on Thursday. I am excited for the start of the season again, for us to be able to go to games, watch the games, talk about the games, complain about the games, celebrate the games, you name it. I'm excited. I think there's a lot on the line this season, though. I don't think they will ever fire this general manager, and they probably will never fire the coach because there would then be no narrative for the general manager to have if he fired his handpicked coach that he's been telling us is a great coach for all this time in spite of any results of any magnitude. But even if you're the biggest Predators fan, is winning the division something that is being thought about?
I mean, I think that the bigger question here amongst Predators fans is this team going to make the playoffs?
Is this team any good?
Yes.